WING 1410 Dayton. Dayton's ESPN Radio.
Justin Kinner, Kev Nash with you here on Dayton's ESPN Radio. Welcome in the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash. Mr. Kev Nash, welcome.
What up, though?
You seem to like the new intro music for the show.
I do. I really like that other one that felt like we was at a rave. Reminded me of my days at Wright State.
What do you mean? I think it's this one. Was it that one?
No, it's not that one. It's the other one. It's the super up-tempo one.
You got to wait. It kicks in a bit. Maybe I think it's this one.
It is.
Yeah,
it
you
is.
just got to be patient. So there's that. But yeah, you did the mirror.
Yeah.
All right. I hope everyone's had a great day. Welcome in. Wow, a lot to get into here today. Yesterday's show, we had Jason Fitz on. Always love having him on. We had the owner of AEW. Pretty cool, Tony Khan. He joined us to talk about AEW's debut in Dayton coming up on February 1st. That was pretty neat. We're going to have former Flyer Norm Grevey in studio for the entire 5 o'clock hour coming up later on in the show. Excited to chat with him. Again, Dayton coming off of a big win last night against Davidson, a big rebound win after that debacle against VCU this past Friday night. And that's what I want to open up with today. Last night, Anthony Grant in the postgame, you would expect a more upbeat Anthony Grant. Anthony Grant should have been pleased. I know it wasn't a pretty win. Dayton wins 68-61 over Davidson, 13-6, still the top team in the A10. Despite some of their struggles early due to injury, they're starting to, they're not just getting better, they're significantly better, but now they're starting to get healthy. How about the return of Malachi Smith last night? That's pretty exciting. Only 16, I shouldn't say only, played 16 minutes. This is the good thing about UD actually not winning during the stretch that they were without some of those players, because I think the one thing that would have happened is if they would have continued to win and have that top 25 expectation and have to get that at large, which they would prefer to have, don't get me wrong, but you would have to, almost force Malachi Smith into playing more minutes. But right now you could be patient. You're dominating the A10. Your only way of making the tournament is by winning, of course, the A10 tournament. So the only thing that they need to be focusing on is getting better and getting healthier, and they're accomplishing all of those things. I think on Friday, people got pretty excited. Kobe Elvis was spotted, kind of dressed for the game and warming up in the pregame. I don't believe he played. He didn't play last night, but Malachi Smith, of course, same thing last night. Start to see pictures floating around. He's warming up. He plays last night. Dayton again gets that big rebound win against Davidson after that big debacle against VCU on Friday night. People were furious with that loss on Friday night, and rightfully so. They choked it down the stretch. That's not a hot take. UD fans were pretty upset. It takes a lot to upset UD fans, but that was not a great finish to the game and what was a very entertaining game. I mean, VCU was very physical with Deron Holmes on Friday night, and then Tumani Kamara stepped up 25, 27 points, dominated on the boards. When they doubled Deron, Tumani Kamara ate him up down low. And then when they had to stop doubling Deron and start, kind of fronting both guys, then that's when Deron started taking over against VCU. But the problem is in the final 3 or 4 minutes, multiple turnovers, couldn't get a shot off. Sher Jams just let ball go right through his hands. And the only thing I'll say about all of this is the fact that, hey, that's just a young basketball team. They're just a young basketball team at key positions, especially that point guard position. I shouldn't say they're young, but they're inexperienced at some of those positions in big moments in A10 play. And that includes this exact moment right now, especially in the heart and the heat of A10 play, obviously going up against VCU Friday night, Davidson last night. But they responded. Mustafa Amzil last night scored 19 points. He helped Dayton defeat Davidson last night, of course, which was a huge performance from him. But that's not really what we wanted to open up with. We'll get into more of the Dayton talk later on in the show when it comes to when we get Norm Grevey in studio. But I wanted to open up because of comments made in the postgame by Anthony Grant. I get labeled a UD hater and I get labeled all this. I've been critical of AG in the past because I feel like more should have been done with the talent that they've had. I feel like more should be done with it, but that's not what this is about. I'm not anti-AG by any means. In fact, after what he did last night, I'm actually more pro-AG than I've ever been because AG gets it. Anthony Grant gets it. It's more than just basketball. There is more to it than just a game with the ball in your hand, of course. You know what I mean? So I'll play this audio for you coming up here in a moment. But what I really like about Anthony Grant is he was smart enough in the moment to not make last night's press conference about a big rebound win against the Davidson team. They still got another big one on Saturday. I mean, every game's big moving forward. But he addressed something that I'm very passionate about, that you're having a lot of fun with, that our listeners are having a lot of fun with. And that is, even though he doesn't say it, we all know what he's talking about. It's all being alluded sports gambling, sports betting. Take a listen. This is a problem. And we're not just seeing it with Dayton. We're seeing it across the board in the college, athletics level and all across pros. It doesn't matter. It's becoming ugly when it comes to how people react in certain situations. Take a listen to Anthony Grant in the post game. This comes from audio from a video posted from David Jablonski, covers the Flyers. Of course, I reached out to him earlier and he had no problem with me using the audio, but take a listen. Anthony Grant in last night's post game, again, addressing this issue.
And when we have people that make it about themselves and attack kids because of their own agenda, it sickens me. They have families. They don't deserve that. Mental health is real. So if you're a Flyer fan, I ask you just to understand what you're dealing with young people. Right? Take a step back and reevaluate your priorities. And if you can't, we don't need you.
Wow. Take a listen to that last part, Kev.
Yeah.
If you can't, we don't need you. Very interesting.
Very powerful from Coach AG. He's sending a direct message to everybody out there. We talked about this in the pre-show meeting about how when Ohio State lost the bowl game to Georgia and how badly we missed that kick that could have sent us to the national championship game. My first reaction, obviously, just like everybody out there in Buckeye Nation, was like, oh my goodness, what happened? Blah, 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 blah. Mad, anger, sad. And then my second thought was like, man, I hope that kid doesn't go to social media because they are going to attack him. And then you throw on the fact that now at the stroke of midnight that day, sports gambling was legal. So now we have crazy rabid fans, and now we have people introduced to gambling. And whenever you add money to any sport, any activity, it no longer becomes pure. It's no longer about wins and losses. It's about covering spreads. It's about making sure player X gets an amount of rebounds so I can hit my over. It's all these elements that come into it. And then us as fans, there's a population of us that can watch it and then be mad at home, be like, oh man, send our text to our buddy, bad beat here, a bad back there. Oh man, they missed the cover by a point. Oh, why they foul there? Oh man, $5 down the drain. But there's another segment of the population who really are taking this to the next level. And those are the people that we have to worry about, that just take it out of control, that start attacking players and coaches and family members on social media. Look, man, I know there's a segment of the listening audience who's older than us, who don't live on social media. But guess what? This era of person lives on social media. People 30 and below don't know a life without social media. So we need to let that go. Social media is here to stay. And these young people are going to be on social media left and right. They're going to be checking their messages. They're going to be checking their DMs. They're going to be replying back to people left and right. So that's not going anywhere. But we can control how we react to when a bad beat happens. Attacking people verbally, attacking people and threatening people's lives is just totally uncalled for. And I'm glad Coach called people out on it. And the only thing I'll say is I wish this was on a bigger platform. I wish like this was on ESPN nonstop on a loop right now, because it is going to affect so many other programs out there besides UD, besides the Wright State, besides the people in our local market. Because if it got out to the masses, then maybe some people will actually take a step back and think like, well, man, this is supposed to be sports gambling. It's supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be for entertainment purposes only. But obviously people are taking it way too serious by right now. And we're only 18 days into this thing in Ohio?
Yeah, again, a lot to unpack from the comments from Anthony Grant. And I think the thing that was most telling about this was, folks, Anthony Grant wasn't addressing this as a message for people across the country. It seemed directed at Flyers fans. And by the way, I'm not framing this. I'm not spinning this. This sounds like he's defending his players, not just against gambler, not just against sports bettors, but UD fans. Not all of you. I'm not putting all UD fans in one pocket here. But I think what hurts is, okay, you could be like, for instance, if it's some random Joe Schmo betting on some random Dayton game from California,
right,
and they're talking smack and they're, that's wrong too. But okay, whatever. That's stuff that you address, that you try to find a way to filter those comments and yada, yada. But I think what's bothering AG and a lot of people involved here is that I think it's Flyer fans. It's Dayton fans. It's students on that campus. It's people that live in our communities that are attacking our own players because we're dumb and place money on a game. And when the outcome didn't go the way we wanted, we blame them. So by the way, and I don't think that this is an indictment on sports gambling. The sports gambling, I mean, you can't sit here and say that sports gambling is the problem in this for how people are acting and then not blame alcohol for how people act at games. And not
right.
Just like alcohol, just like anything, if you don't have the right people with the right state of mind consuming these things and not doing it correctly, yes, it's going to get ugly, right? Like, so I don't want this to turn into that, because we have partnerships with a lot of sports books, and I'm not going to stop our promotion of sports books or anything along those lines. However, I will gladly help push that message from Anthony Grant of stop being boneheads, people. If you're going to be dumb enough to put money on these games, like I'm dumb enough to do, Kev from time to time is dumb enough to put the bonus bets, right? The bonus bets. Like, that's what, have you put any of your real money on there yet?
I have.
You have. Oh, so it has got you. You have been bit by it. Okay. But if you put your own money on there, that is on you. That is not on Mustafa Amzil. That is not on Deron Holmes. That is not on Anthony Grant. That is not on the kicker for the Dallas Cowboys. That's not on anybody. Okay. Like, I have fun with it. I enjoy it. I also sometimes am just so angry. How about this one last night, folks? Let's have a little fun with this, okay? Because this doesn't always have to be so bad. I put a $2 wager last night on a guess the score. I'm feeling lucky some nights. I'm like, I'm feeling it. I predicted the score to be 68-60. I put a $2 wager on the correct score wager of 68-60. A $2 wager would have won me $402, Kev.
Woo!
You know what the final score was?
Do tell.
68-61. I missed $400 by one damn point. And I laughed. It was funny. I'm in bowling league last night. I've had a couple drinks, and I'm like, God, it would have been a cool night. I was looking at all my friends, but I might hit this, folks. And if I do, I'm buying everyone drinks. Like, we're going to have a good night.
Yeah.
Missed it by one. I didn't lose $400. I lost $2. So whatever. But in my head, I was already buying our group drinks. I'm looking a couple tables down. I'm like, y'all seem nice. Y'all come back to the bar with us. We're going to buy you drinks too.
And that's how people think. That's how people think. Yeah. They think like, all right, once this kind of closed, like all this money's in the bag, I'm going to start spending that money. And then, a foul happens and somebody misses a free throw and then you don't hit it. And then miraculously you go from winning $400 to losing $2.
Yep.
Like, that's how fast it happens. And that's why they call it gambling. They have an entire city, and it's called Las Vegas. I don't know if you've ever been. They have an entire strip. It's about 5 miles long with a whole bunch of casinos out there. They don't build these things because people win all the time. They build them because people lose all the time. It's sports gambling. It's for entertainment purposes. And sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. But most importantly, man, just don't take it out on people, dude. Like, it is insane for people to actually attack people and threaten people's lives because somebody didn't cover. And guess what? UD won the basketball game, by the way.
Yep. That's what was even more interesting, is that based on AG's tone and his facial expressions and just and that, by the way, that audio piece, and I got that audio from David Jablonski. He was in the post game, covers the Flyers, Daily News. He tweeted out that video on his Twitter account. Obviously not on his YouTube or Facebook. He don't tweet. Yeah, you get the point. But he put that out, and that was like about a minute and 12 seconds that I shrunk down to 30 seconds. And I shrunk it down because I had to take out the pauses in between just so it was a more radio-friendly soundbite so that we're not sitting through dead silence. Anthony Grant, you could tell every time he said something, Kev, he took another 10 to 12 seconds to think about what he was going to say next. Because I think what he said was interesting, but I think the pauses are really where in his head he was wanting to go off and say more.
Yeah.
I get it. Everyone comes at this stuff from a different angle. And I'm not bashing his side, because the one thing he's doing is protecting his players, because at the end of the day, take sports gambling out of it. UD players were going to get bashed for how they lost to VCU no matter what anyways, right or wrong. But and I'm always harsh on this because I say, look, if these guys could be praised, they could be criticized. But just like everything in life, there's always a line that you can cross, and people always cross that line, and people are crossing the line now with the sports gambling stuff. I was mad I didn't hit my bet last night, but I didn't go to social media and say, damn you, Anthony Grant, damn you, Dayton, damn you, blah, blah, blah. I didn't care about that. I enjoy it. I have fun with it. But I also see the psychopaths that do this stuff, and they're trying to, win. They're trying to make a living off of this stuff. It just doesn't make any sense to me. That's the problem I have with it. The ugly side of people does show with this stuff. But at the same time, can players if they could get praised, they can get criticized.
Yeah.
There's always a line you can cross. The lines are being crossed. I appreciate AG standing up for it. I could see why he's against this, because it totally, now what you already deal with from a criticism standpoint, which is the norm of the game, now it's being elevated. And the reason this is new, and it's not new to me, I feel like sports gambling's been, I know it's been legal since January 1st, but people have been betting on Dayton and betting on these players for years and years and years. But now it's just it seems like it's just real close in our backyard now, because it just went live in Ohio back on January 1st.
Yeah, you got the rookies involved, new people, the people that have been dying to do this for years. But you brought up a good point, and I wanted you to kind of elaborate. You said that you think he's talking to the UD fan base as well, not just, Joe out there in California. You think there's actually students and people that cheer for UD that are really in people's benches like that?
I mean, if I was a student, if I have to think back to my days in college, if sports betting was legal, and I already love going to basketball games anyways, and students on campus, that's the thrill of being on campus, amongst many other great things about that campus. But going to UD games, I know I would place a couple dollars of my student refund money, or like most kids their parents' money that they're giving to them for going to school. You know what I mean? Like, no, I would have placed wagers on there. And guess what? At 18, 19, 20 years old, I probably would have been dumb too, sitting in the student section, pissed off because Amzil missed a shot, or Deron Holmes didn't get the rebound that I needed him to clinch my parlay. We're all selfish. And how we cope with that selfishness and what we do with that selfishness is going to dictate how successful we are with being able to handle certain things, whether it be drinking, whether it be, obviously sports betting and all that stuff. So, yes, I do. That message that he sent, I'm going to play it again. This is, again, David Jablonski in the postgame last night. Caught this message from Anthony Grant. And, Kev, he never said sports gambling, but we know he talked about laws that changed that just went into effect to start early in this year. That was also brought up in this press conference. But the thing that's interesting, he is not targeting, but he is talking to UD fans. The last statement he makes is, we don't need you, when he's talking about this pocket. Yeah. If this was just a broad message to sports gamblers in general, that's one thing. But I feel like it's to sports gamblers, but it also seems to be narrowed into Dayton Flyers fans. Take a listen and listen closely.
And when we have people that make it about themselves and attack kids because of their own agenda, it sickens me. They have families. They don't deserve that. Mental health is real. So if you're a Flyer fan, I ask you just to understand what you're dealing with young people. Right? Take a step back and reevaluate your priorities. And if you can't, we don't need you.
That wasn't to Jim in Texas, who just randomly made a $10 bet on UD to cover, and they didn't cover, and he's tweeting at Amzil or Deron Holmes. This sounds like this was direct, and I think this was less about last night's game. I think this has a lot to do with sports betting and the crumble that happened against VCU on Friday. I think those types of games are hard to deal with as a coach as it is and players as it is, but you had the sports betting element. Now you're getting that vitriol kind of directed towards you. That seemed directed at Flyer fans who are responsible for some of this. And by the way, this is not directed at all Flyer fans. If you don't place bets and you're not tweeting and trashing players on social media, there's no need to be defensive and say, I don't do that. Then this isn't about you. And you can step back and just know that this isn't about you. Don't feel it's okay. But yes, that seemed directed at an issue that's happening on campus, in my opinion, or at least in our community with Flyer fans. One comment that came in that's interesting. David Shaw says it's sad that AG even has to say any of this. People need to be adults. Actually, Shaw, the thing is, and I think you're going to touch on this, I believe, but I don't think it's sad that he's saying this. I think it needs to be said.
Yes.
And I think Ryan Day and Chris Holtman and Scott Nagy and any coach, any sport out there, even if it's not an issue now, it needs to be said. And I think it needs to be said. It needs to be said sooner rather than later. It needs to be said even if there's not an issue right now, because I think fans need a wake-up call a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm going to keep pushing FanDuel. I'm going to keep pushing out FanDuel.com/Kinner. If you want to place your first $5 bet, get $200 in free bets back. FanDuel. Yeah. I'm going to keep pushing that. It doesn't mean I'm pushing people acting like idiots. I'm not supporting those who are placing bets and then acting like morons because you don't win and then you blame the players and AG. I'm one of the most critical sports radio hosts you'll ever come across. I will never be critical of a player that misses a shot that costs me money, because that doesn't make me a bad host. That makes me a bad person, and that's not the lane I'm wanting to go down, and I suggest y'all don't do that either.
Yeah, I'm with you 100%. It really takes away from the fact that obviously Friday night was terrible. I watched the second half when I got home from the St. V Centerville game. So UD's handling business on Friday, and then it just slowly but surely slipped away, balls bouncing all over the place, turnovers. And I'm like, what just happened here? And then you get your next opportunity. You're down at the half by, like, I want to say we're down 3. DeRon Holmes is battling foul trouble the entire night. I'm not sure if he played more than 15 minutes, as many fouls as he was racking up last night, but you ultimately win the game at home by 7. And it's a good bounce back win, but that's kind of like spoiled from whatever happened after Friday night's game on social media and things of that nature. And I think you're right. I'm not sure if they can even do this based on like the laws and, from the conferences and stuff like that. But I think it would be kind of cool for Coach Day, Coach AG, all the coaches from around the state of Ohio to like do a PSA about gambling and like, all right, yeah, have fun with it. But remember X, Y, and Z. I think that would be kind of cool for them to do. Kind of just a reminder, like, this is for entertainment purposes only. Not sure if they can do that because obviously they're coaches and gambling. That's a murky zone to get involved with. But, like, it would be kind of cool to see all the coaches from the state of Ohio all on one accord pushing the message.
Justin Kinner, Kev Nash with you here on 1410 ESPN Radio. Ryan Snyder on Facebook. By the way, we're on Facebook. Head to the Justin Kinner Show Facebook page. Like, subscribe, follow along. ESPN Dayton's YouTube channel as well. You could watch us live weekdays from 3 to 6 and interact with the show that way. Ryan Snyder says, agree. Doubt it was this game, talking about the Davidson game last night, that he was referring to, but more likely the fallout from the VCU game. Yes, there was going to be a lot of frustrated fans criticizing UD on social media because of the loss itself and how they lost to VCU. But I think what this message, this not even subliminal, it was just out there. This message from AG that I back 1,000,000,000% is y'all need to cool it. Like with this, like the mental health side of things with these athletes, just from the regular, everyday, day-to-day pressures that they're facing. That's one thing. But now it's being elevated because, some idiot didn't win his parlay or you didn't cover, and that's their fault. Or he misses a layup that could have allowed them to cover, but whatever it is.
Right.
Anyways, I think what we're all missing here is the fact that I blame Desmond Watson, who went 1 for 1 from the free throw line last night. And if he doesn't make that free throw, I win my money. I'm so mad at Davidson and Desmond Watson. No, that's funny, but it's not, because that's what people do.
Yeah.
That's what people do when they find Desmond Watson. They'll find whoever, and they'll tweet at them, screw you, buddy. You cost me, blah, blah, blah. And if I'm him, I'm going to make one every single time to make sure you don't win money on my watch. Like,
I love when people expose the people that come in there. DMs and attacking them. I love when they screenshot them and put them out there and find out information about them and find out where they work. And we're like, hey, at so-and-so company, did you know your employee, blah, 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 is talking like this? Like, bring that same energy back to them, man.
It's called pettiness, and you know me. I love pettiness. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash on 1410 ESPN Radio. We will be, actually, real quick, a little tease. You put out a question on our Facebook page earlier today that kind of ties into this, and I don't think you intended it for it to tie into it, but the comments definitely brought us to where this is kind of overlapping a little bit.
Yeah, I didn't even see Coach AG's post-game interview until I came into the studio with our pre-show meeting, but I just simply posted the question, does sports gambling make you feel different about quote-unquote bad refereeing? Because obviously people are watching games that they had no interest in watching before. So now you're looking at these games like, oh, man, that's a bad call. That could have helped me win X amount of dollars. And it kind of morphed into this situation that obviously Coach AG and you got the audio today. So, yeah, it's weird. Yeah, it's weird how these things work.
Yeah, bad officiating did not exist until January 1st, 2023, right? No, we'll be right back. We'll touch on this next.
Bad refereeing.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash on 1410 ESPN Radio.
ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
The mid-afternoon and early evening will be cloudy, a high near 45. Tonight's going to be cloudy and breezy with showers, a low near 40. And tomorrow's going to be mostly cloudy and breezy, a high near 60. I'm Pete Spivak for 1410 ESPN Radio.
Weather is brought to you by Cullet Propane. 98% of their customers recommend Cullet. If you wouldn't recommend your current supplier, check them out at culletpropane.com.
DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL, is officially live in Ohio, right in time for the NFL playoffs. Now you can legally bet on all your favorite sports, anytime and anywhere, right here in Ohio with DraftKings. For a limited time, new customers who sign up with promo code WING1410 and bet $5 or more will receive $200 in bonus bets instantly. Now, just because my Pittsburgh Steelers didn't make the playoffs doesn't mean I shouldn't try to make some money with some same-game parlays and player props. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. New customers can use promo code WING1410 to get $200 in bonus bets instantly when you place a $5 bet on anything. Only at DraftKings Sportsbook with code WING1410. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 and up. Physically present in Ohio. Valid one offer per first-time depositor who have not already redeemed $200 in free bets via pre-launch offer. Minimum $5 deposit and wager. $200 issued as bonus bets. Eligibility restrictions apply. See dkng.co/OH for terms.
Science proves quality sleep is vital to your mental, emotional, and physical health. The Sleep Number 360 smart bed senses your movements and automatically adjusts to help keep you both effortlessly comfortable. And it's temperature balancing, so you stay cool. So you're at your best for yourself and those you care about most. Life-changing sleep, only from Sleep Number. And now save $1,000 on the Sleep Number 360 Special Edition Smart Bed Queen, only $19.99, plus special financing, only for a limited time. To learn more, go to sleepnumber.com. Special financing subject to credit approval. Minimum monthly payments required. See store for details.
Did you know that 3 Ohioans are diagnosed with oral cancer every day? Dentists are doctors of dental surgery and can recognize life-threatening conditions and treat oral diseases before they become serious health complications. Ohio Dental Association member dentists are located throughout the state and are dedicated to providing the highest quality dental care. Ask if your dentist is a member of the Ohio Dental Association and American Dental Association, so you know you're being treated by the best. To find an ODA dentist in your area, visit associationsadvanceohio.com.
Hey, this is Lisa Stofan. Heard the Mark Patrick weight loss hypnosis hype? Well, I attended because my father stopped smoking with hypnosis. Hypnosis eliminated my desire for soda and fast food, made me want to exercise, and I lost 60 pounds in 6 months. My energy level exploded. I went to another session to deal with some other problem foods, and I lost another 10 pounds. In fact, I brought my husband, and he lost weight, and his cholesterol and blood pressure improved. My friend lost 20 pounds her first 2 months.
Oh my, what are you waiting for? Join Mark Patrick seminars and lose the weight or stop smoking guaranteed for only $49.99. Hypnosis designed to destroy unwanted cravings, late day eating binges, boredom eating, stress eating. That's right, seminars Thursday, January 26th at the Holiday Inn Dayton Fairborn I-675 in Fairborn. Weight loss seminar 5:30, stop smoking seminar 8 p.m. And Saturday, January 28th at the Holiday Inn Express and Suites, Dayton South I-675 in Dayton. Weight loss seminar 11 a.m. Stop smoking seminar 2 p.m. Register markpatrickseminars.com.
Want to make tonight's dinner a perfect 10? Swing by Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken and pick up a 10-piece strips meal for only $24.99 with 10 freshly marinated honey-dipped premium tenderloins, 3 dipping sauces, 2 of our irresistible large sides, and 5 fluffy biscuits. It's family time made from scratch. Take home a top-notch dinner the whole family will love from Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken with our 10-piece strips meal for only $24.99. Only at Lee's. Famous for chicken.
Cordell Transportation is now hiring Class A CDL drivers. Excellent pay, benefits, and a $5,000 sign-on bonus. Apply today. Online at CordellTransportation.com. Driven to succeed.
Folks, do you want to feed your hay burner something other than hay? Come out to Homestead Feed and Supply. We've got Tribute, Hubbard, Buckley Brothers, and Purina Horse Feeds. Whether you need a low-starch feed for a Cushing's horse or high-performance feed for that show animal, we've got it. 1833 North Dayton Lakeview Road, New Carlisle. Tell them the Colonel sent you.
Yo, Pablo Torre here, host of the ESPN Daily Podcast. When you want to go beyond your feed, when you want to get inside the score, when you want to get behind the highlight, there's ESPN Daily. Go deeper into the stories of the moment. Get the exclusive access and insider perspective that only ESPN can give you. ESPN Daily, hosted by me, Pablo Torre. Listen and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. Thinking about gas mileage? If your check engine light is on, it may be affecting your MPGs, but the free AutoZone Fix Finder service can help. With the most complete free warning light report backed by technician-verified fixes, you'll know what's affecting your gas mileage and more, and you don't have to drive too far to find the fix. The free AutoZone Fix Finder service is available at all 6,200 stores.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
See details at AutoZone.com.
Have you ever noticed that when the afternoon light hits your floors, you can see everything, including dust?
So much dust.
And that floor dust gets kicked up into the air, compromising the quality of air you and your family breathe.
Eesh.
Swiffer Heavy Duty Sweeper is the fast and easy way to clean your floors with ultra-thick pads that trap and lock dust before it gets in the air. Just a couple minutes a day.
And dust is gone.
Swiffer Heavy Duty Sweeper. Proud partner of the American Lung Association.
God, I'm so stressed. It's a brand new year and our business is busier than ever.
Ooma.
What is that? Meditation?
I'm recommending the Ooma cloud phone system with auto attendant and more than 35 features.
Ooma?
Yep. Switching to Ooma is a cinch. Starts at $19.95 per month per user, plus taxes and fees.
Ooma.
Now you're feeling it. Visit Ooma.com. That's OOMA.com to learn more. Ooma. Smart communications for the smarter business.
Jackson Hewitt guarantees your biggest tax refund, plus a chance to double your refund with the Double Your Refund sweepstakes. No purchase necessary. U.S. residents 18 or older who file a 2022 federal return ends 4/2/23.
The Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash. Presented by Brad Mays with Home Experts Realty. Weekdays at 3 p.m. on 1410 ESPN Radio.
Justin Kinner, Kev Nash, back with you here on Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM. Coming up at 5 o'clock, former Dayton Flyer Norm Grevey, he'll hang out with us. In fact, starting, today at 5 o'clock, every Wednesday in the 5 o'clock hour for the rest of the college basketball season, for the rest of the season for the Dayton Flyers. Norm will come in. We'll talk UD hoops. We'll get his thoughts on Anthony Grant's comments in the postgame last night. Obviously critical of kind of, how of those who are being extra critical, overcritical, and crossing a line. There's being critical, and then there's just being straight up rude and just crossing the line. That Flyer fans, not Flyer fans, that sports gamblers they're crossing that line. And not all sports gamble. I'm a sports gambler. I'm not tweeting athletes. I'm not angry at teams. I mean, UD cost me $400 last night. I didn't say anything, no, but that's what people are doing. For those just joining us, like a $2 wager last night on the guess the score. I predicted it would be 68-60, Dayton over Davidson, and the final score was 68-61.
Ooh, ooh, that's worse than my bad beat. That's worse than my bad beat. I had the one. I did a parlay with the Bengals and Ravens game. I forget exactly what numbers it was, but I needed three more yards from T. Higgins for me to hit a $60 parlay, turn $3 into $60. 3 yards. So I went from like rooting for the Bengals to win the game to hoping the Ravens pushed it to overtime to give me another opportunity to get those 3 yards from T. Higgins.
You're just a hater. You're just a Bengals hater, dude. My goodness. By the way, did you see this? Tyler Huntley draws a big number in the Ravens-Bengals wildcard game. I mean, the Ravens-Bengals is the most watched Sunday primetime show since the Super Bowl.
Wow.
I probably saying, Kenner, why are you saying Tyler Huntley? I went with the quarterback that was the best quarterback on Sunday. He outperformed Joe Burrow. Tyler Huntley outperformed Joe Burrow.
And you know why it is Tyler Huntley? It's because the Ravens and the Bengals also played on Sunday Night Football earlier this season with Lamar Jackson. So Tyler Huntley outdrew both of them.
And you have your
Who needs Lamar?
You have your hater cap on, and I like it. It's making my job a lot easier. I appreciate it. No, but that game was wild. And see, by the way, for those of you out there who want to say sports gambling is the problem with everything, like it is making games like this even way more fun. Like I have friends that don't really care about football that we were out with the other night that we were hanging on every play, every drive, everything, because just putting a couple down, having some fun, just do whatever. wagering or not, bottom line is that was just one hell of a football game. And
Yeah.
that was, I mean, that the fumble in the jungle, what are they calling that?
Is that what they're calling
I
it?
don't know what they're calling it. I see Lance McAllister's been kind of pushing quite a few different nicknames for these. It's kind of like the Immaculate Reception or whatever, like they're kind of coming up with their own name for this. But that was, that you take that play out. I mean, what was more miraculous about that, Kev, was the fact that he wasn't tripped up. But it wasn't that he wasn't tripped up. That was pretty impressive, too, that he did. I mean, he had the little oxygen tank or whatever, the little oxygen mask on and whatever. He had to obviously catch his breath. No penalties.
Yeah.
Now, one person clips. So, I mean, everything looks close. I mean, I think you can call a penalty on every single play, basically. But now one flag, 98-yard return. No one touched someone in the back. Nothing. That, to me, itself was miraculous in itself.
So much athleticism on display. Obviously, the force of the fumble, the scoop. How many times have we seen people try to pick up a football and it just starts squirting all over the place? Herbert was able to get it up off the ground and just put them elbows and just booking it. And then you see Mark Andrews, the tight end from the Ravens, almost track him down. Maybe a block in the back, maybe a little tug, maybe not. But either way, he was able to make it to the end zone. So it was a ton of athleticism on the field that night, but they needed it. I mean, the Ravens were 2 yards away from tying the ball game up, and then they were on their last drive. They were inches away from Porsche catching that touchdown that would have tied the game up at the end of regulation, man. So the Cincinnati Bengals definitely needed to get up out of Dodge and regroup and get ready for the Bills this coming Sunday.
Yeah, I talked about it. The miracle to me that there was no penalty called at all on that Hubbard run. I'm not saying there should have been. It's just usually if it was my team, if it was the Browns, Myles Garrett or somebody made a big play like that. Oh, you guarantee there'd be some kind of penalty, right? Like speaking of the Browns, they introduced Jim Schwartz today. We'll get to that in a moment, and I'm going to be singing the Canadian national anthem coming up here later on. By the way, to honor the Steelers, bringing back Matt Canada.
Thanks.
Yeah, that's a win for all of Browns fans, Bengals fans. We can all rejoice in knowing that the Steelers brought Matt Canada back, or at least announced that they are going to retain his services. So there's that.
18 points a game, man.
Yeah.
18 points a game, and we're going to bring them back. Look, man,
They didn't finish
Coach.
him last.
They didn't. They sure didn't. Love Coach Tomlin, but like these are the things that people that question some of the things that he does. These are those things. Like, why are we bringing him back? Why? Yeah, they looked a little different. They looked better in the second half of the season. No doubt about it. They were able to run the ball. Protection was better. But I don't like it. I don't like it. Frank Wright is out there. Byron Leftwich is out there. There's plenty of other guys, proven commodities that actually got jewelry. Super Bowl winning offensive coordinators out there that you can go ahead and get or at least talk to bring into the Steelers. So I don't like it, but it is what it is. I'll have on my black and yellow come fall.
I have heard people use examples like the Bengals' loyalty to Zach Taylor is one reason why the play caller, I know he's the head coach, but the play caller, his loyalty to them, look how much that paid off for the Bengals. I'm like, well, here's the difference. Zach Taylor struggled at the beginning because there was no talent. They had no talent. Then they got talent, and now it all clicks.
Yeah.
The Chargers, are a prime example. You hear the same arguments for that. You got to be patient. You got to let Staley stay. Difference is Staley and Canada have talent, and they're not winning with that talent, or they're not maximizing that talent. I mean, one has Justin Herbert, and I'm not putting Pickett in that conversation yet, but I mean, the one thing you can't deny is the improvement of the quarterback position itself.
Yep.
But again, you're the offense. You're not in charge. You're not just in charge of the quarterback. You're in charge of the flow of the offense, and the offense, 18 points a game, as you talked about. That's not getting it done, especially in the AFC. And, you're not getting that done against Joe Burrow and the Bengals. You're not doing that against Josh Allen, the Bills, Patrick Mahomes. Obviously, the Jaguars have emerged as a star team now. And by the way, they're only going to get better. You forget they traded for Calvin Ridley. I forgot.
Right.
Someone brought that up during the broadcast. I'm like, they did trade for Calvin Ridley. I forgot about that. Like,
Kansas City averaged 30 points a game. You averaged 18.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, you get to be relevant in this league, to even think about playing in a Super Bowl, you got to be scoring at least 25 a game, at least. So, like, hey, maybe I'm dead wrong. Maybe they'll come in and start scoring touchdowns left and right. Maybe they'll stop settling for 30-yard field goals every single drive. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they'll start scoring touchdowns. But as last year and the year before that, it was Kaputsville. It was some bad ending arounds that didn't go anywhere. It was a bunch of running into the line of scrimmage with Najee Harris for 2 yards, and then, hey, it's 3rd and 8. Make something happen. They got to fix it. So if fixing it means getting better offensive linemen, so be it. But they got to fix it.
How about this one from Tom Pelissero? Ben Johnson, the OC for the Lions, has been contacted a lot. But he announced that he feels that there's something special brewing in Detroit, and he's going to come back for another year.
Wow.
He was actually supposed to interview today with the Panthers. But he ended up not even traveling to go
for
to
the head coach
or coaching.
Wow.
So he's turning down head coaching jobs, not just OC jobs elsewhere. He's turning down head coaching jobs. I mean, that's how far the Lions are coming right now. That he's like, no, we got something good in Detroit. I don't know if I've ever heard that before. But yeah, Johnson was slated to travel Wednesday to interview with the Panthers, but he feels Detroit is building something special and wants to see it through. And again, he should be a hot head coach name again next year. That's for sure. But forget how explosive that offense for the Lions was, and that's with what the heck's their quarterback name? Jared Goff. So
yeah, that's with Goff, and they got shut out once this season, and they averaged about 23 points a game this year. That's with a shutout.
Yep. Mark Smith, he said, Kenner, can you post what AG said in a written format? The audio was mostly distorted. I don't have actually go follow David. I'm sure you do. David Jablonski on Twitter. Read his article on Dayton Daily News. He has the full audio transcript right there laid out in the article, kind of highlighting in more detail kind of what happened last night in the post game. But I will gladly, when I have time, get to posting that. But for right now, if you want to go read it now, go find the article on Dayton Daily News with Jablonski. Did a great job with that. Doug Toby said, Bengals are becoming America's team. Oh, Bengal Jim has a map. We have fans for like 30 different countries. Too late to jump on the bandwagon. We would probably accept Steve from Springboro, though. I will say this, Doug. I have no intentions of jumping on the bandwagon for the Bengals. However, I just want to watch good football, and whether I like them or not, the Bengals are fun to watch.
Yeah.
It's not like, I mean, if Pittsburgh's roster was in Cincinnati, they're not fun to watch. And I don't care if it's Cincinnati, the local, all that stuff. No, I can't do that. The Bengals are fun to watch. And what's fun about them is that, y'all, the difference is you ain't the cute and funny little coming up story anymore. When y'all lose, I'll be right here. The expectations are to win. By the way, the expectations for the Bengals are what? Like what or bust? I know we do this a lot when we get to this point.
That's normally like a NBA thing, but I'll play. It's AFC Championship or bust.
I agree. Not Super Bowl, but if they,
you got to get back to the AFC Championship this year. They have to beat Buffalo. Like I think Buffalo's there for the taking, man. Like I just do. Like just Josh Allen hasn't impressed me. Like even week 1 when they blew out the defending champs, the Rams, he was turning the ball over in that game, but it kind of got overshadowed from some of those amazing throws that he had in week 1. He's been turning the ball over, and he turned it over like crazy versus the Dolphins. And I know we can't play the ifs game, but if Tyreek Hill doesn't drop that pass and Waddle doesn't drop that pass, those are 2 touchdowns potentially for the Dolphins that go the other way. Like they could have been beaten by Skylar Thompson and the Dolphins on their 3rd string quarterback on wild card weekend, and the Dolphins could have been coming up to Cincinnati again. So like they were that close away from losing. Like, so I don't know, man. I think the Bengals got them, man. I really think the Bengals are going to punch their ticket to the AFC Championship game and take on the winner of KC and Duval County.
My only counter to that is Cincinnati didn't look good either. Like I agree, Buffalo. I mean, but both teams looked poor. So that's why I'm not using that against either team.
Okay.
Like everyone expected me to come in yesterday, and I really wanted to. It sounded like a printer going off or something. I don't know what that was. Anyways, I wanted to talk about how poor the Bengals did not look good offensively. And by the way, you're not allowed to use offensive line excuses because this team got to a Super Bowl last year with a bad offensive line. And basically without Kappa and without La'el Collins, this is the offensive line from last year.
Kappa.
So it's just at this point, that's kind of where I'm at. So there is no excuse. I do think there was a little bit of overlooking the opponents, a little bit the trap game element that we talked about yesterday. I agree with you. Buffalo did not look good, but the Bengals didn't look good either, in my opinion. But the one thing that the Bengals did look good with is their defense, although they did let Tyler Huntley throw on them. And Tyler Huntley's no Josh Allen. So if Tyler Huntley in big moments of that game in the second half, he outplayed Joe Burrow in the second half. Y'all, I don't care if it's the O-line. Remember, this is what I said last year. Y'all bragged about him playing through the offensive line issues. Well, then that's the expectation moving forward. Play through the offensive line issues because he did it last year. You bragged about it, so that's who he is, and that's fine, and that's great because a lot of teams can't play through offensive line issues. Joe Burrow can. So we can't say, oh, he could play through that when he's doing it, and then when he can't, use that as the excuse. It just doesn't work that way. So to me, if we're going to use Buffalo's struggles last Sunday, Kev, then I'm going to use Cincinnati's as well, because at the end of the day, although I do like the Bengals defense and I like them a lot, they still, in clutch moments of that game, let Tyler Huntley drop back and make big plays. Now, they did get to him. Their pass rushers are unbelievable. But I like I'm saying, Tyler Huntley at moments got comfortable. And if Josh Allen gets comfortable, he's going to hurt them a whole lot more than Huntley. That's for sure. So we'll see what happens.
Definitely a better quarterback in Josh Allen. Definitely better receivers with Diggs and Gabe Davis for the Buffalo Bills. So Eli Apple, better strap it up, buddy.
So you say AFC Championship or bust. But my thing is, you beat Buffalo, you're expected to beat Kansas City. You've beat Kansas City back-to-back times now. You actually beat them 3 straight times, including in the AFC Championship game at Kansas City last year.
True.
I'm not saying – are you saying AFC Championship or getting to the AFC?
To the game.
Okay, I'm saying AFC Championship or bust, like having to win gets back to the Super Bowl.
Back to the Super Bowl.
I'm not saying they have to win the Super Bowl because they're going to be evenly matched with – the Niners – their Bengals will have the quarterback advantage, no doubt. But from a weapon standpoint, I like Jamar Chase will be the number 1 weapon on the field if they run into the Niners, no doubt. The Bengals have the number 1 quarterback and the number 1 weapon, but I will take the Niners overall group of weapons combined collectively, and barely, by the way. I'm not disrespecting the Bengals. I would kill for all their weapons. Let's just be real. But I love the Niners collective between their O-line. Their O-line brings the run game in. It brings the pass game in. It brings it all together. So for me, the Bengals, it's win the AFC Championship or bust. It's a failure of a season. You have your quarterback still on that rookie deal. This might be the best roster Joe Burrow ever plays on. He might get next year with an improved roster. I think they have $40 million cap space, but they do got to they got to make decisions on some guys bringing them back. That's going to eat some of that up. Joe Burrow's eligible for an extension now. Do they give that to him? And by the way, that won't impact them next year or probably even the year after. You can kick this down the road a little bit, Kev, right? Because they keep doing the signing bonus up front.
Mm-hmm.
Are the Bengals capable of doing that, though? Are they financially fit to do that? That's the other question. But all I'm saying is take advantage of this franchise. Yeah. Take advantage of this window. The top 4 paid quarterbacks in the NFL missed the playoffs this year, Kev. The highest paid quarterbacks in the NFL. Now, the Deshaun thing, whatever. The Browns missed the playoffs. I'm not guaranteeing they would have made it. If Deshaun's quarterback in week 1, I would like to think they make the playoffs if he's the quarterback from week 1 on. But I didn't
really. The top 4 dudes didn't make the playoffs.
The top 4 highest paid: Aaron Rodgers, Kyler Murray, Deshaun at 4, and then I'm missing another one. Oh, who is it? That's going to drive me crazy. Either way. I'll have to I screenshot the graphic, but I'll make sure I get to that in a second. But the point is you got to capitalize now if you're the Bengals. This roster, Joe Burrow will never play on rosters better than what he is right now. He'll probably get 1 more year of a stacked roster before they have to make a decision on T. Higgins and Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow, right? And then defense at the same time. Like I love Hendrickson, so they're gonna keep that intact, but they got to make decisions at linebacker this coming up off season as well. So that's where I'm at with this. I think the urgency of you're never going to have a roster as stacked as this on both sides of the ball.
Right.
So take advantage of it. You have to take advantage of it. And I think that because they do have the most explosive offense in the AFC, I feel like they need to take advantage. To me, it's AFC Championship or bust. If they're not in the Super Bowl, it's a failed season. Not failed. I'll say failed, but I got to come up with a different word. What's a good word to use? It's a bust of a season, I guess. I don't know. They had a great year.
The game is
cutthroat.
That's what it is.
Permission to say failed.
Yes,
they failed. It's a failed season. If the Bengals don't make the Super Bowl, you've beat the Chiefs 3 straight times. Twice you beat them, in Kansas City. Last year in the AFC Championship game. 4 times? They beat them. Either way. They
back-to-back at home and then at Kansas City. So I only remember 3.
So either way, I'm going to go with, beat the Bills.
Hey, all you got to do is beat the Bills and the Chiefs, man, and you're in there.
But the good thing is you already got through Tyler Huntley. So it's all downhill from here. So there's that.
Cincinnati Bengals fans, obviously you don't want to overlook Buffalo because as much as I'm kind of down on them, obviously they're really good and Josh Allen could turn into himself again and stop turning the ball over like a maniac. Do you want another shot at Patrick Mahomes and prove once and for all that Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals are better than Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid, and do a four times, or do you want Duval County and Sunshine to beat them so you can get a home game?
I can always hear you holding back when you say Duval. Like you want every time you say Duval, I know you want to. Yes, you know you.
I like it.
Tony Khan got a kick out of that yesterday.
I don't like them, but I like it.
Yeah. All right, it's the Justin Kidder Show with Kev Nash on 1410 ESPN Radio. I know it's a generic-y little, low-hanging fruit question, but the Bengals playoff run right now is what? Is it winning the Super Bowl or bust? I don't think that's necessarily fair. I think it's always, for me, getting to the Super Bowl or bust. And when you look at what they have coming up, and I'm basing this off of what y'all have told me, y'all were up, 7-3, and told me that they should have won that game. They were on their way to dominating that game. A lot of you already, you're going to beat Buffalo in Buffalo. Like the confidence level, I call it cockiness. Y'all call it confidence. We can compromise. I'll say confidence, but your confidence, all of you have told me I'm wrong for having doubts in the Bengals. So, all right, fine. Put your expectations where your mouth is. I say it's fair. Winning the AFC Championship or bust is a fair compromise. I'm not putting all the pressure to win the Super Bowl. I'm saying get to the Super Bowl, though. This is the best team left in the playoffs as far as the most balanced on both sides. The Niners are balanced, but quarterback, like the Bengals have when you look at quarterback, run game, wide receivers, I know they're banged up on the offensive line, complemented with that defense. The Bills aren't as balanced on both sides.
You want to rank the teams after the break?
That's fair. That's fair. And I'm curious people's thoughts in the comment section. Now, Brian Heil, he chimes in and he says, let me make sure this is pulled up. There it is. He goes, come on, Justin. You're telling me we got to beat the best quarterback of this generation 3 times in a row or it's a failed season?
I think that's fair. Because, look, if we talk about LeBron James has to win a championship or a season is a bust in October, we're talking about LeBron James. Well, if they don't win the championship, it's another wasted season for LeBron. We can do the same thing for the NFL teams that have championship aspirations. And guess what? I feel the same way about the Kansas City Chiefs. I'm even to a higher level with the Kansas City Chiefs. It is hoist the Lombardi or bust for them. It is get to the Super Bowl or bust for the Bills. It is get to the NFC Championship or bust for Philadelphia. Same for the 49ers. I'm not sure there's a team in the NFC where them not winning the Super Bowl, I would say their season is a bust. I think teams like the Giants, house money. I think they're the only team that's really playing with house money right now. Jacksonville playing with house money. A lot of these other teams, man, you gotta get to the next level. Dallas Cowboys getting that win over Tampa Bay. A lot of people out there thought they were going to lose, so getting over that hump is great, but now you got to play the Niners. Dallas Cowboys, is that a situation where they have to at least get to the NFC Championship game?
They're different. For one, I was hesitant whether to pick them to beat but I was shocked at how they beat the Bucs, even the bad Bucs team. I always look back at the expectations of them coming into the season. I mean, they lost to the Bucs in week 1. Dak goes out. Remember all the national media, all the shows, the Cowboys are done. They're not making the playoffs.
Hand raised.
And then they go on. I mean, the NFC East has 3 teams remaining still, but there's only one that people are really high up on, and that's the Philadelphia Eagles. But the Cowboys, I mean, they do have a strong run game. They, points per game, all this stuff, but it's like Dak is what people, they don't want to buy into 100%. Look, I think if you listen to Sports Talk Radio in Buffalo right now, they have Super Bowl or bust expectations. Kansas City, they have it. And if the Bengals are who you tell me they are, then I think it's fair to hold them to the same expectation. And by the way, I don't need you to tell me that. I kind of agree with you. I know the Bengals are good. I know that. I'm not like, it is what it is. Like, I know how dominant they are on both sides of the ball. But now they have to live up to it because last year they were the cute little, Jaguar story. The Jaguars are playing with house money this year.
Yeah.
If they beat the Chiefs and get to the AFC Championship game, guess what we're going to do? We're going to do with them what we did with the Bengals last year, and that is, well, it doesn't matter if they win or not. The fact that they're even in the AFC Championship game after 30 years of not winning a playoff game, this is great. They're in the Super Bowl? Well, it doesn't matter if they win it or not. The fact that they're in the Super Bowl after all these years, we're going to do that with the Jaguars. Then guess what next year is going to happen? They're going to get Calvin Ridley. They still have a lot of cap space. They're going to add talent. All right, Doug Peterson. All right, Trevor Lawrence. Your 4 interceptions in 1/2 games, those are done.
Yep.
Your losses on big primetime stages, those are done. You got to start living up. You had the fun year last year. The expectations are win, or it's kind of a failed season. By the way, this roster was not put together the way it is right now to to lose.
Yeah, and
be okay with it.
And the same thing goes for Justin Herbert. A lot of the pressure in Justin Herbert is kind of lucky to some extent that his head coach is disliked by so many people in the media with the analytics and going for it on fourth down and all that wacky stuff that he does, or he would be receiving way more heat than he is. He's really flown under the radar because that second half performance, they just weren't converting any third downs at all.
Because keep in mind, I'll be critical of Herbert here, and I love Herbert. We were critical of the coach for not running the football. That means they were passing the football, which means Herbert, the ball was in your hands to make plays.
Exactly.
And I've said I'll take Herbert over Burrow. I think Herbert's more talented than Burrow, but I think we're getting into that Peyton, Tom Brady type thing where obviously Peyton was more talented than Brady, but I think everyone takes Brady over Peyton Manning. I think we're getting to that kind of conversation. I think Justin Herbert's more talented. I think he's as talented. I think he watch the kind of weird throws he makes. He does that weird sidearm thing. He does a lot of these weird throws that Patrick Mahomes makes. Joe Burrow doesn't do that, but doesn't mean you have to, by the way. Like just the fact that Joe Burrow doesn't throw a sidearm crazy ass pass, does that make him a less, not a talented quarterback? No, he finds other ways to make impressive plays. Bottom line is, to sum up, I think it's beyond fair to say that the expectation is you better be in the Super Bowl. It's a failed season. It's the best roster that Joe Burrow is going to play on moving forward. He might get one more year of a stacked roster like this, and they'll have talented rosters moving forward. But I don't think they're going to have a roster like this much longer, especially with he's eligible for that extension. And if I'm the Bengals, I don't wait. Jason Fitz yesterday on the show, Kev, he brought up a good point. He goes, right now, the Ravens could stick it to the Bengals by giving Lamar. If you're the Ravens, I would sprint to the table and get that deal done with Lamar and set the market. Like the Browns kind of did it with Deshaun, which, by the way, I wanted to call Jason out yesterday. I'm like, how come if the Ravens do it, it's good business, but when the Browns did it, they're a horrible organization? I don't get it. Why? Just because the Browns do a bad contract with Deshaun doesn't mean that you should do a bad contract if you're the Ravens. But he was like, oh man, that's great business. Force the Bengals' hand, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, hold up. That's what the Browns did. But I think it's because,
because they're going to push it up even more. Because Joe is going to get $250. It's just a matter of how much is going to be guaranteed.
Yeah. So we'll see. He's playing for Skyline Chili gift cards or something. You don't know.
Good guy, man.
You don't know what Mike Brown's going to do. Good guy discount. All right, folks, we'll be right back. We're going to rank we'll do our little playoff power rankings, if you will. Yeah. But yeah, I'm curious people's thoughts on that expectation for the Bengals. Like, y'all can call me a hater, but Kev said it. I don't think I'm being unfair by saying they need to win the AFC Championship or it's a failed season. I don't think this roster was built to not get to the Super Bowl, especially after getting there last year. They spent all that money on that O-line. Now, I know those pieces aren't healthy right now.
Yeah, that sucks.
But, let's have this conversation. We'll also rank the teams left in the playoffs 1 through 8? Is that how many teams we have left? All right. We'll be right back.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash on 1410 ESPN Radio.
Houday Nation, Betfred has come all the way from England to the great state of Ohio with over 50 years of sports betting experience. No emperors, no movie stars, just a sportsbook you can trust. The Betfred Sportsbook app will be available on January 1st, 2023. Until then, download the Bengals app or go to betfredsports.com and have a chance to win Bengals tickets and exclusive merchandise. Official sports betting partner of the Cincinnati Bengals. Must be 21 plus. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-589-9966.
Science proves quality sleep is vital to your mental, emotional, and physical health. The Sleep Number 360 smart bed senses your movements and automatically adjusts to help keep you both effortlessly comfortable. And it's temperature balancing, so you stay cool. So you're at your best for yourself and those you care about most. Life-changing sleep, only from Sleep Number. And now save $1,000 on the Sleep Number 360 Special Edition Smart Bed Queen, only $19.99, plus special financing, only for a limited time. To learn more, go to sleepnumber.com. Special financing subject to credit approval. Minimum monthly payments required. See store for details.
Do you enjoy sports betting and fantasy sports? If so, it's important to know that gambling's not a way to pay bills or earn income. Learn how to set limits and recognize the warning signs for problem gambling by visiting beforeyoubet.org. You can also assess your risk by taking the responsible gambling quiz. Beforeyoubet.org provides free resources to help keep gambling safe and fun for Ohioans. Be a fan with a plan this season and go to beforeyoubet.org to learn more.
For adults with moderate to severe plaque psoriasis who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy, now there's Skyrizi, risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection. With Skyrizi, 3 out of 4 people achieve 90% clear skin at 4 months, and Skyrizi is just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Nothing in me go hand in hand. Nothing on my skin, that's my new plan. Nothing is everything.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms, such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
With Skyrizi, you could achieve 90% clearer skin. Ask your doctor about the #1 dermatologist prescribed biologic in psoriasis and visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKYRIZI to learn more.
The all-new Chevrolet of Troy is now open. What are the advantages of shopping at Chevrolet of Troy? Selection has never been better. With over 300 new and pre-owned vehicles available, we always accept employee and supplier pricing, and we make financing easy. Customer service is our top priority. We care about you. With thousands off MSRP, a full-service state-of-the-art dealership, and huge selection. Make Chevrolet of Troy your first stop today. 1375 South Market Street and online at ChevroletofTroy.com.
3 little words no parent wants to hear.
My tummy hurts.
And it always seems to happen at the worst times. Like in the middle of the morning rush, when you still have homework to check and lunches to pack, and of course, you're already late for work. Luckily, there's Pepto Kids. Pepto Kids chewables provide fast relief for common stomach issues, turning those 3 words into these 3 words.
I feel better.
Bad time for stomach upsets? Good time for Pepto Kids chewables. Fast relief for little tummies. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
I wanted to know why some people who get COVID-19 get it so bad. I found out it may be because they have a high risk factor, such as heart disease, diabetes, being overweight, smoking, and asthma. Even if symptoms feel mild, these factors can increase your risk of COVID-19 turning severe. So if you're at high risk and test positive, there are things you can do, like asking your healthcare provider if an authorized oral treatment is right for you. Learn about an option at treatcovid19.com. This message is sponsored by Pfizer.
For adults with moderate to severe plaque psoriasis who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy, now there's Skyrizi, risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection. With Skyrizi, 3 out of 4 people achieve 90% clear skin at 4 months, and Skyrizi is just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Nothing in me go hand in hand. Nothing on my skin, that's my new plan. Nothing is everything.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms, such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
With Skyrizi, you could achieve 90% clearer skin. Ask your doctor about the #1 dermatologist prescribed biologic in psoriasis and visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKYRIZI to learn more.
Make the big game sound even bigger with your new TV and sound system from Audio Etc. There is nothing better than a home theater or high-fidelity music system from Audio Etc. 4K is amazing, but just imagine the 8K experience. Come to Audio Etc's crazy cool showroom today and experience 8K TVs and projectors, short throw projectors from 100-inch to 130-inch, all the way to your high-end dream system. Audio Etc has tons of new inventory in stock, while everybody else is back-ordered or out of stock. Get special deals on a TV and your dream system today. Audio Etc can bring any big game home. It's better than being there. You have to see it to believe the incredible quality of the picture and sound. If you can't afford your dream system, check out our huge selection of vintage and pre-owned components. Audio Etc, powered by Klipsch, Bowers & Wilkins, SVS, Marantz, Denon, Sony, and a whole list of high-performance brands that you've probably never heard of. 551 Congress Park Drive in Centerville.
Audio Etc's crazy cool showroom.
Betting happens as fast as sports. And now every play is faster than ever before. You're on the edge of your seat until the moment when it's all on the line. Which is why it's important to pause before you play. Sports are fast. Betting shouldn't be. So remember to set limits, know the risks, and pause before you play. To learn more, visit pausebeforeyouplay.org.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
My friend and I are taking a trip to Mexico this year, but neither of us speak Spanish. So we downloaded Babbel and started learning Spanish fast.
Want to start getting conversational in another language? In as little as 3 weeks, Babbel's quick 10-minute lessons were designed by language experts to be the most efficient and effective way to learn a new language.
¿Cómo te llamas?
¿Cómo te llamas?
Babbel, language for life. Celebrating 10 million subscriptions sold. Now try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. That's Babbel.com.
With Discover, you can redeem your rewards for cash in any amount at any time. Learn more at discover.com/redeem rewards. Terms apply.
Don't put it off any longer. You know it's time. Time for a bathroom upgrade by Bath Creations. Bath Creations is a leader in bathroom renovations, providing the very best value in bath and shower remodeling and proudly made in the USA. With Bath Creations, you get a beautiful modern bathroom that's safe, comfortable, and affordable. Attention first responders, veterans, and active military. Save $500 off your purchase right now. Visit Poe Avenue in Dayton or online at mybathcreations.com. And upgrade today.
With Discover, you can redeem your rewards for cash in any amount at any time. Learn more at discover.com/redeem rewards. Terms apply.
Hour 2 here in the Miami Valley. I'm Justin Kinner. He's Kev Nash. 518-1410. That's the number that you can call or now text. That's right. You don't just have to call the show. You can text the show. 518-1410. I know our Facebook friends and YouTube friends, you guys always just chime in the comment section. Not everyone is able to, take the show in on Facebook and YouTube, and that's totally fine. You could still reach out to the show and text us at 518-1410 or call us at 518-1410. When you text, put 937 in front of that. Call, same thing. All right. Browns introduced new defensive coordinator Jim Schwartz earlier today. Great hire. I have no problem with the hire. It's not Joe Wood, so that's one. 2, I would have loved the Brian Flores addition. I think that would have been the aggressive decision. That would have been the over. I would have liked that. The thing is Jim Schwartz, I don't think that you can't go wrong with Jim Schwartz. Everywhere Jim Schwartz has gone, he has won as far as his defense being just top contenders. And his type of defense is predicated around having a strong front and pass rush. And the Browns have that. They're going to have to add to that depth. They're going to have to go get some pass rushers. They're going to be some pass rushers that are either cut or obviously they're going to have to trade for one or whatever. But their goal is going to be to put someone with Myles Garrett to just wreak havoc on the quarterbacks in the AFC North and any opponent that's in front of them in 2023. The good part, by the way, if we're going to miss the playoffs, I always say, if you're going to miss the playoffs, there's no benefit. If you're going to be bad, be bad. There's no benefit in finishing in third in the AFC. Now you got a last place schedule next year. The Browns have an easy schedule next year. Well, I'm fine with that. I'm fine with sounding like a loser. I'm fine with, my goodness, I sound like a Browns fan, don't I? I'm saying some very loserish things that if Bengals fans said, I'd be ripping y'all for this. But hey, the stars are aligning for all this mess that the Browns have gone through to maybe come out smiling on the other side. But if not, they'll be laughing like everyone else is at him. So we'll see. But no, Jim Schwartz, great addition. I would have liked the Brian Flores thing. I think Brian Flores, though, the one thing you have to worry about with Brian Flores, that's a head coach in waiting. And he may get a head coach position. He may be the Cardinals' next head coach.
Yeah.
And I think, by the way, if he's a head coach next offseason, that means the Browns defense was dominant. And that's a win. But then you're right back here doing this all over again. I'm not saying Jim Schwartz doesn't have any head coach aspirations. In fact, he was one of the finalists to get the Browns job last time, which I was not a huge fan of, but mainly because I like offensive-minded. That's why Stefanski I was a fan of. I mean, look at all the teams that are left. There's 8 teams left. All of them have offensive-minded head coaches right now. So this was the direction that you had to go in with Kevin Stefanski. So Schwartz, the fact that you have Stefanski as your head coach and one of your other head coaching candidates, which was Schwartz, is now your defensive coordinator. Yeah. I think that's a win-win. Schwartz is one of those guys, too, that if Stefanski doesn't work out, it could be one of those things where he is a head coach in waiting. I'm not a fan of that idea because for that to happen, that means the Browns have to lose a lot. I don't want that to happen. But I think this was a very good hire for the Browns. I think they needed someone that, for one, his scheme fits what this roster strength is right now, and you can go get more of these types of pass rushers, complement that to Myles Garrett. I'm talking about the Bengals having a little window left to capitalize, while they have some financial flexibility. The Browns have one more year left, and that's coming up. They're going to real quick. So the contract for Watson, they can reconstruct that into a bonus one more year. Okay, they can go ahead and do it. I think they can get it down to $8 million. They'll do the signing bonus like last year, so he'll get $8 million. He'll be paid $8 million in 2023. That'll go against the cap, not all 48 or whatever it is. And then again, the rollover, they're going to have about like 40-something mil to work with. They're going to cut John Johnson. They're going to do all this, rework some contracts. They're going to go get some pass rushers. They're going to load up everything on that defense, and maybe, just maybe, they get in on that Hopkins opportunity. Who knows? Browns are going all in for 1 year. They'll deal with the repercussions later. No team knows how to screw things up more than the Browns, but they could accidentally find themselves if they're aggressive, in a very good situation. Dominant pass rush, good secondary. Still not fan of the linebackers, but Cormo is not bad. Offensive line still great. They kept that intact. They still have Chubb. They still have the weapons. They have to go get another big-time wide receiver. They have to get another pass rusher. Big wide receiver, big pass rusher. That should be the goals for the Browns. They got their defensive coordinator. I'm not saying they're winning the Super Bowl, but they're going to have every weapon imaginable to put them up there with the Chiefs, with the Bengals, with the Bills, with all the teams that are in the conversation right now. The Browns are made up like that, but can they put all the pieces together? No distraction, no quarterback suspended half the year. Oh, he's played for 700 days. We need him to have time to warm up. I think the Browns, this is it for them. Like, I'm not saying it's going to happen, but on paper, they have everything that they need that matches with the Bengals, with the Bills, with the Chiefs, what everyone's doing. The Browns have it now, so there's no excuse. It's next year or no years because, my goodness, they got to figure it out.
Blank or bust for the Browns next season.
Blank or bust. It's tough in the AFC, but it's the same thing. Like, you got Deshaun Watson to be a Super Bowl contender. So if you're not in the AFC championship game, the Bengals I'm putting win the AFC championship. Well, no, forget it. If you get there, you might as well win it. They have to be in the Super Bowl next year for this to be a success. Wow. Because this, like I said, for Burrow, this is the most talented team Watson's ever going to play on in 2023. He will never play on a roster more stacked than what he's going to next season. So they need to capitalize on it because after that year, they got some moving around to do. Chubb, a lot of names. Ward. I mean, there's going to be some names that they're going to have to move on from to keep Garrett, to keep Watson.
Right.
And, maybe Cooper's a guy that they cut ties with too. I don't know, but they have some decisions to make. That's for sure.
Two things on the Browns for me. One, if I'm a player, I need to get to to get to the Cleveland Browns. I mean, they construct their money basically in the signing bonuses. So you get a chunk of money up front.
Contrary to belief, you don't have to commit sexual assault to get that money. I know everyone painted the Browns to be this horrible organization that was only doing this to protect him from getting fined during his suspension. They did this for everybody. Continue,
Denzel,
but it drives me nuts.
Denzel Ward, Garrett, man, that sounds like the place to be. You get a fat check at the beginning of the season, and then you get paid a measly $8 million throughout the rest of the regular season. Another thing, Jim Schwartz, obviously head coaching experience with the Lions, I believe that's who he was a head coach for, but also Super Bowl winning defensive coordinator for the Philadelphia Eagles back in 2018. So, a lot of these things for the Cleveland Browns, it's almost like he can be the head coach of the defense because he has head coaching experience, that whole type of thing. I think it's a good look for the Cleveland Browns to grab Schwartz.
Yeah. And again, now it's just sit back and wait and see what moves they make. Someone said, Steve says, why are we talking about the Brownies? They're irrelevant. Steve, I'm not trying to force the Browns talk on you. They did sign Schwartz. They introduced to me at his introductory press conference. And the Browns are always relevant to me. As long as I'm on this show, the Browns will always be talked
Browns
about.
is the Browns.
The Browns is the Browns. And we plan on making that saying a positive one. That's for sure. But Steve said, why are you talking about the Browns? They're irrelevant. He goes on, but since you are, Deshaun looked like trash this year. I don't see him playing much better next year either. Bust, bust, bust. Man. All right. I made you a promise. So here's the first. This is the first test since we've had this conversation. Steve, we all have opinions, and that's certainly one of them. All right, so I got through that one. We'll see how I can continue moving forward. But I have no defense for Deshaun right now. Like, bottom line is, I have expectations for him. He has to play elite next year. There's no excuse. I wasn't forgiving. I just kind of was like, I would put more stock into this if this was Deshaun from week 1, 6 weeks in. But if this is him, if he picks up where he left off in week 1 next year, yeah, I'm going to be very critical. You Bengals fans hate me. I'll make sure Browns fans hate me even more because that's unacceptable. Like the Browns have made it to where the expectation is to compete at the highest of levels. And it's even worse when you have the talent and you can't do it. It's one thing if you can't find the talent. And even then that's embarrassing because it's the NFL. Teams go from worst to first all the damn time. Yeah. The Browns can't seem to get out of their own way. So Steve, I agree with you. I will be as critical of the Browns as the biggest Browns haters out there if they can't find a way to win with Deshaun. And Deshaun he will be responsible for living up to that contract as well. Russell Wilson got destroyed this year. I will do the same thing when it comes to Deshaun Watson if he doesn't live up to that contract. Good for him for getting it. He was going to get it somewhere, by the way. Stop acting like it was only the Browns that was going to do this. Atlanta was very close. Other teams were.
Saints.
So let's stop with that. But,
Cardinals.
The Browns, they went all in. Deshaun went all in, and here we are. But I'm with you. All the stuff about I'm not saying he's a bust. I disagree with you guys. But he will be if he's 3, 4, 5 games in and looking like he did the last 6 weeks here. He showed signs. He showed glimpses of that old Houston Texans quarterback, but he's 27 years old, dude. So I'm just going to sit back and wait. But you're right to be critical. I don't think that's going to be the case. And if it is, I can flip my Browns hater switch pretty easily.
Right to be critical, but we did this exercise, the last week of the regular season. Well, after the regular season games were over, we did the grades for the QBs in the AFC North. I gave him a D, but really an incomplete because
the D's what got him in real anyway. Sorry, my bad. Damn it.
I gave him an incomplete because there was just so much. And I'll hit the excuse bell for myself. 700 days. He came in halfway through the season. The suspension, a lot of that stuff is potentially his own fault or whatever the case may be. Whatever. The fact is he was out there. He wasn't good, but I'm willing to give him an incomplete. I'll judge him on this upcoming season where he has a full off season. He plays from week 1 to week 18, and then I'll have a grade for him. And then I think that will be ultimately fair for him because it's just a small sample size. He hadn't played in a ton of time, so an incomplete will be fair. But yeah, I'm with you. You said Super Bowl, like getting to the Super Bowl or bust.
Here's why. Especially if they go get a Hopkins, if they go out and get another receiver, but even without it,
as constructed,
when you have that quarterback, Joe Burrow said this a while back, that as long as I'm here, the window to win a Super Bowl is always open. So based on Joe Burrow saying that, that's the expectation for Cincinnati. The Chiefs feel the same way about Patrick Mahomes. The Bills feel that way about, obviously, their situation with Josh Allen. Philly's feeling pretty good about what they have with Jalen Hurts right now. And obviously, Jags are feeling very confident. Why not? I mean, if we're going to do that with every other team that has an elite quarterback, Pickett showed signs. And if he takes that next big step, you guys might feel that way in a year too. But as far as Deshaun, that money says yes. That money was not paid to him to finish third every year in the AFC North this year. He was not paid to be a fringe wildcard team. And by the way, barely making the playoffs. Since expanding, the 7 seed has never won a game in the playoffs since expanding into the playoffs. They did it 1 year for COVID. They've done it 2 years since. No 7 seed has ever won in the playoffs. So this idea that just making the playoffs for the Browns is good enough. If y'all want to hang around down there in the dreary, that's fine. My expectations are higher. They paid him to be a Super Bowl contender, to be elite. And elite quarterbacks don't have wild card expectations. They have win the division, get to the AFC title game, get contend for a Super Bowl. So that's where I'm at with that.
I would say, I mean, you're right. Teams do go from worst to first in the NFL like nobody's business. I would say divisional round or bust for the Browns. So that would be winning the first wild card if they're actually playing in the wild card. Who says they won't be the first place team and they get a bye into the divisional round? But I would say at least to divisional round or bust for them. I think they can still make things work financially, especially the way they work the numbers around there. Up there in the good old 2-1-6. So, I mean, man, Super Bowl or bust? Goodness gracious.
Getting to the Super Bowl.
To the Super Bowl.
Because that's the same expectation I'm putting on Cincinnati.
Goodness.
Like Chiefs, Bills, same thing. Like the loser of this Sunday's game, it's a failed season. The Bills were supposed to get to the Super Bowl, the AFC Championship. The Bengals are supposed to. Like
a lot of people's Super Bowl champs.
So it's kind of where we're at. with that right now. All right. By the way, Gordon Gross on Facebook says, I put $20 on the Browns to win it all in 24. I'm already planning on spending that $1 million and making it rain.
Hey, it's worth a shot, man.
Yeah. All right, Kev. So right now, ranking the teams that are, enough about the team that's not in the playoffs. I apologize for taking so much time on the Browns. Only brought them up. Schwartz was introduced today as defensive coordinator for the Browns. We'll see what impact he makes, and he'll make a big one because he's not Joe Woods. All right. To the teams that are in the playoffs, let's focus on them as we currently sit here right now, because there's 8 teams left. And we're going to see some teams that have high expectations to win it all be knocked out this weekend.
Yeah.
You know, the Bills or the Bengals will be knocked out this weekend, and we'll be talking about one of those teams, their season not living up to expectation. 8 teams left, Kev. Let's rank them. Kev's playoff power rankings as we head into the divisional round of the playoffs. Who's your number 1 team? Go from there down.
San Francisco 49ers are coming in at number 1. I know Brock Purdy, Mr. Irrelevant. He's a rookie quarterback, yada, yada, yada. But so many weapons are on that offense. And not to only mention, one of their best offensive players is Trent Williams, going to be in the Hall of Fame, one of the best offensive tackles ever. Basically, whenever they run to the left, they pick up 5 yards. Outstanding. Obviously, defense outstanding. DeMeco Ryans outstanding. Oh, yeah, their head coach and play caller schemes dudes wide open all the time. So I got the Niners at 1. Number 2, going to stay in the NFC. Philadelphia. I know Jalen Hurts is banged up, but shoot, how long is he going to be banged up? They had a bye week. He was out like the last 3 games of the regular season. I think Philadelphia is number 2 in my power rankings. Number 3, we going down to the nasty natty. The Cincinnati Bengals are coming in at number 3. We know how explosive that offense is. I think the Ravens, Joe Burrow never plays good against the Ravens. He doesn't play good against the Browns either, but he balls against my Pittsburgh Steelers. So I got the Bengals coming in at number 3. And then the team that the Bengals just seem to always beat, the Kansas City Chiefs, coming in at number 4. I know it sounds crazy that I got all these teams ahead of the Kansas City Chiefs, but that's just the way I see it, man. Kansas City Chiefs, that defense, they are super leaky on the back end, and going up against the Bengals, 49ers, Philadelphia Eagles, or Buffalo Bills, people are going to get behind that defense and get wide open. So I got Kansas City strictly based off of how leaky that defense is, coming in at number 4. Number 5, Buffalo Bills. You know, everybody had them winning the Super Bowl this year based off of their performance versus Kansas City last year. But people forgot that Kansas City actually ended up losing to the Cincinnati Bengals. People acted like Kansas City Chiefs won the Super Bowl last year and said, well, Buffalo really outplayed them. Well, Kansas City didn't even make it to the Super Bowl last year. So I got Buffalo at number 5. They're also leaky on the back end, and they're kind of shaky up front. Plus, the way Josh Allen is turning the ball over, I got them at number 5. Number 6, and it kind of feel weird putting the Dallas Cowboys at number 6 because based off of all the star power that they have on that team, but that's just where I got them right now. I really could flip them and Buffalo because I really like the Cowboys defense. I like the way they got after it on Monday Night Football. People that say, man, Tampa had a losing record. They were the only team in the NFL to go to the playoffs with a losing record. That's what they should have did. But shoot, how many times has the Dallas Cowboys been in this position where we all thought like, all right, man, they're going to win a divisional round. They're going to make it to the next round of the playoffs, and they hadn't been able to get it done. But they got it done on Monday, got them at number 6. Now, this is where it gets tricky for me. I wanted to put the New York Football Giants at number 7. I really did. But I can't stand Minnesota's defense. And I kind of think that's why Danny Dimes had such a good game. But then on the flip side, the Jags, their quarterback threw 4 interceptions. But guess what? He threw 4 interceptions and they still won. So I got the Jags at 7, Giants at 8. So Niners, Philly, Bengals, Chiefs, Bills, Cowboys, Jags, Giants.
Not bad. This is actually tough, and by the way, it should be. You get to this point of the playoffs, like there shouldn't be a big gap between a lot of these teams. There's a gap, rightfully so, from top to bottom, but it's not significant. Like the Giants could beat the Niners if they met. It would be surprised, it'd be an upset, but it wouldn't be an upset. It wouldn't be like oh my gosh, no one saw that coming. There's enough weapons on every one of these teams in the playoffs left to beat somebody else in the playoffs. Like there's no one that would go over if everyone played. Let's just put it that way. But I have the Niners as the number 1 team. And I do think maybe I am falling for Purdy. I'm falling for the trap of the recency thing with Purdy. But for every week we keep waiting for that rookie quarterback thing to be a big deal. But you know what happens with rookies? They play well first couple games and then they kind of fall off because teams start to figure them out. Well, guess what? he just keeps getting better and better each and every week. In fact, as the moments got bigger in that Seahawks game, he had some moments where he overthrew guys. He underthrew guys. He wasn't perfect, but he didn't turn it over, and he made every big play he needed to. He threw for 350 yards, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions. Mr. Irrelevant. And remember I told you yesterday, Jason on the show, he said, hey, we're going to discount it because he has weapons all around him. Yeah, but you know what's worse? Trey Lance had those same weapons. He wasn't dominant with those same weapons. Garoppolo, he won, and I love Garoppolo. I'm fine. Like, I think if your team doesn't have a quarterback, Garoppolo can come and do great things for you. Garoppolo did very good things with the 49ers. Mm-hmm. But Purdy's making this damn offense, like, look dominant.
Yeah, making it click.
And so I have Niners number 1 because that damn defense, too. You can't run on that defense. You can't run on that defense, and for those great quarterbacks that can pass, you better get rid of that ball quickly because those pass rushers are going to get to you. The
Bosa dude,
the sane Bosa, quitter. You know, they all have some issues, but you know, the one doesn't quit, but he's psycho, and then the other one quits. But man, when he's on the field, he's dominant. But
offsides, Bosa.
I was going to say, but I have 49ers number 1. I have the Chiefs at number 2 strictly because they have the best quarterback in the NFL, Patrick Mahomes. I mean, like, the thing is, like, I start to get that Patrick Mahomes fatigue, and then you watch him and you realize, and by the way, I'll just be honest, I watched Joe Burrow, and Joe Burrow is a freaking great quarterback. He makes every great throw, every big throw he makes it look easy. But Patrick Mahomes, he makes the hard things look easy. Like, Joe Burrow doesn't need to do any of the big hard throws right now. And maybe that part comes as he starts to lose talent around him as the roster changes due to financial stuff and all that. But for right now, I have the Chiefs at number 2 because while everyone talks about that offense, that defense is pretty dang good. The weapons that obviously Patrick Mahomes has around him, and then obviously Andy Reid and the chemistry and the dominance that they've had, you know, they're going to get, in my opinion, they're going to get back to their 4th straight AFC championship game. And then it'll be interesting to see if they can get back to the Super Bowl. That's going to be the big thing. I have the Eagles at number 3, and I shouldn't have them at 3, but I have them there because they're very similar to the Niners in regards to dominant on both sides of the ball. Yeah. They're very similar. The Bengals are right up there with them right now, too, as far as that's concerned. But I do like the Eagles, and I have the Eagles at number 3 because they play in the NFC, and they're not going to be challenged big time until they get, of course, to that NFC championship games against the 49ers. But I think that they have an MVP caliber quarterback in Jalen Hurts, and that's obvious. I used to discard that. I didn't believe in that. But the thing that I found interesting was I had an Eagles fan reach out and say, Kenner, you know why his numbers aren't as good as some of these other QBs? He goes, go look at how many times he didn't play in fourth quarters because they were up by so much. And I was like, that's dumb. That's not a thing in the NFL. He was right.
That's definitely a college thing, but he's right.
5 quarters in games he played, not games he missed because of injury. 5 full quarters he sat out this season because he didn't need to play. 5.
That means they're blowing people out.
They're blowing people out. So now, can he be exposed in the playoffs in a close game situation? Could we come down to that? That's something to talk about when that time comes. And I get that. But for right now, I'll give that Eagles fan credit because he was spot on with that. So I admitted I was wrong in that. So there you go. I have the Bills at number 4. It was a coin flip between Bills, Bengals. That was funny, and I didn't even mean it to be. I wasn't even going for that. That was pretty good, wasn't it? I like the Bills right now. I mean, hell, Vegas likes the Bills. The Bills are favored. I mean, let's just be real. They've been the favorite in back-to-back match. They were the favorite over the Bengals at Paycor. They're the favorite at home. All right, let's just be real. But in all seriousness, I like the Bills both sides of the. If it makes people happy, so they don't be mad, I could put the Bengals at 4, but I'm not. But if you want me to, so it's not a thing, I will. But Bills, Bengals 4/5. You can switch them if you want. I think they're both equally the same team. It'll be interesting. Cowboys at 6, Kev, and then Jags at 7. And the reason I put the Jags at 7 over the Giants at 8 is because the quarterback. And I wanted to put the Jags at 6, to be honest with you. I think because of I think that Trevor Lawrence / Doug Peterson is why. I think that sometimes there are teams that are more balanced, but I'll take Doug Peterson / Trevor Lawrence over the Cowboys' experience, even with Mike McCarthy, who I think we're being too critical of. I don't mind Mike McCarthy, but I think Doug Peterson's working some magic over there. And I think that's why. But yeah, the Giants come in at number 8, but that's still a very good Giants team at number 8 too.
For sure. And you talked about Coach Doug Peterson. That is why I was screaming to the mountaintops, Chicago, please hire this man. Not because I'm a Bears fan, because I'm a Justin Fields fan. And look what they're doing down there. They spent big money in the offseason to get what was Evan Ingram. Everybody, including myself, was laughing that they gave that much money to Kirk, and he came out there and balled. we, you, me, everybody out there forgot that they traded for Calvin Ridley. So they're going to get another weapon next season. So they put a whole bunch of weapons around Trevor Lawrence, and they got him a Super Bowl winning head coach to get things in order down there. And he's the play caller. He's the QB coach, and he's looking like he's worthy of being that number one pick. And that's what I wanted for Justin Fields. But unfortunately, they went the other way. Unfortunately for Jacksonville, they're in the playoffs. They won the division. They won the wild card matchup, and now they go to Kansas City and see what they can do.
Yeah, someone didn't like that, had the Bills above the Bengals. Look, it's based on the teams right now in the playoffs right now. I have the Bills at 4. Everything you talked about, their deficiencies, by the way, they're real. But I also, I'm going to credit that trap game element that I talked about earlier.
Game.
But, by the way, when Hamlin leads the Bills onto the field, the Bengals don't stand a chance. I'm just saying.
You're probably right.
When Hamlin in Buffalo leads the Buffalo Bills out that tunnel.
How many points is that worth?
We saw the initial game where it was that run back for, the kickoff, but I'd say, they're already +4. I'm gonna say the Bills are a whole touchdown favorite, and that's +3. That is +3 right off the bat. Just there you go. But
you called it too last week. You said save it.
And he's been at the stadium all week, according to reports. So, but when Hamlin walks out that tunnel, all right, everyone's gonna lose their mind. Josh Allen's busted ribs are going to magically heal. All right. All the deficiencies.
Bills Mafia going to be setting themselves on fire.
Yep. Putting tables back together again. My goodness. Just saying. In this situation, I have the Bills ahead of the Bengals, but they are pretty equally matched. All right. And the Bengals did not look good last week either. So Bengals fans coming at me with how the Bills looked last week, save it, because your team, you can't. Tyler Huntley outplayed Joe Burrow in the second half. I'm stirring the pot a little, but I'm not completely wrong, and y'all know that. That's the thing that's bothering y'all. But Bengals probably win this, but I'm going to go with the Bills as far as that's concerned. But it's a fun playoff field, that's for sure. Quarterbacks galore. The NFL's as healthy at that position as it's been in a long time.
Tons of great matchups, and NFL doesn't need storylines, but they got them. Yep. They got them at every turn. And it's no bigger storyline than the Bengals playing the Bills. No bigger storyline.
Doug Toby says Bengals-Bills TV ratings going to blow the roof off.
Facts. 3:00 on Sunday, right?
Yep. Steve Stetler says Kev is drinking at work. He said Buffalo at 5. Kev, come on. You've been hitting the bottle.
Well, let's hear your top 8.
Yeah, Steve, that is true. People do that. Like when people say he can't be in the top 10, well, then who you taking out and who you put in? So, Steve Stetler, just curious. Kev wants to know your top 8. Then
I look at that game, and maybe I'm just judging it way too much on this Dolphins game. And maybe I'm just giving the Ravens just too much credit for the way they slowed the Bengals down, because I kind of expected that. I did not expect the Dolphins to give Buffalo a game at all. What happened on Monday night with the Cowboys in Tampa Bay, that's what I expected the Buffalo Bills to do to the Dolphins, and even worse. That's just maybe I'm just making too much of that. Maybe I am.
All right, it's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash here on 1410 ESPN Radio. Dayton Flyers fans, former Flyer Norm Grevey, half hour from now. He'll be in with us for the entire 5 o'clock hour. Excited to chat with him. We'll talk about the Flyers' win last night over Davidson. Of course, what went down at the arena in that loss against VCU. And then, of course, the passionate comments in the postgame last night from Anthony Grant. We'll talk about that. But the last time Norm Grevey and I hosted a show together, the Flyers were coming off of an embarrassing beatdown against Virginia Tech. And we didn't really know where the season was going. And a lot of people were uneasy with the direction of the season because there was a lot of basketball left to be played. But since then, Dayton has flipped that switch. Yes, they lost on Friday to VCU, but they got that big win against Davidson last night. They're getting they have Malachi Smith back now. Kobe Elvis I think he was dressed before the game on Friday night. He didn't play last night. We'll get an update on that in the near future as well. But yeah, March Madness, finally something to be looking forward to. There is a shot. And we'll be talking about that with Norm Grevey coming up in the 5 o'clock hour. We'll step away for a few moments. Wrestling fans, our conversation with AEW's Tony Khan. If you missed it yesterday, we got a little bit of that coming up for you on the other side. And then, of course, we'll hang out with Norm Grevey. That's all coming up. The Justin Kinner Show, Kev Nash, 1410 ESPN Radio.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash.
Justin, you're awesome, baby.
Right here on 1410 ESPN Radio. ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
The mid-afternoon and early evening will be cloudy, a high near 45. Tonight's going to be cloudy and breezy with showers, a low near 40. And tomorrow's going to be mostly cloudy and breezy, a high near 60. I'm Pete Spivak for 1410 ESPN Radio.
With Discover, you can redeem your rewards for cash in any amount at any time. Learn more at discover.com/redeem rewards. Terms apply.
Hey, Ohio, Justin Kinner from the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash with you here to let you know that the wait is finally over. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, is now live in Ohio just in time for the NFL playoffs. And new customers in Ohio can get in on the action with $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. Just sign up at FanDuel.com/Kinner, Kinner. Finally, you can bet on all of your favorite sports with everything from the money line to point spreads to player props or my personal favorite, in-game parlays. So go ahead and win some bucks in the Buckeye State, all on an app that is safe, secure, and super easy to use. Don't miss your chance to get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed, win or lose. Make every moment more with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Must be 21 and older and present in Ohio. First online real money wager only. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expires in 14 days. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Listen to this station anytime, anywhere on Odyssey. Odyssey is your new audio home for all the music, news, sports, and podcasts that matter to you. Odyssey. That's AUDACY.
Hi, Greg McAfee here with McAfee Heating and Air. Dayton was founded on blue-collar work. Many Daytonians worked at companies like NCR, McCall's Publishing, Delco, and the Huffy Corporation. Blue-collar work set Dayton apart in innovation and forward thinking. And today, we have a company like McAfee Heating and Air. Our apprenticeship program is a perfect opportunity to get paid while you learn. Go to mcair.com and apply today.
The all-new Chevrolet of Troy is now open. What makes us different? We have a state-of-the-art dealership offering experienced service, parts, and body shop. In fact, we are the only dealership in Miami County with an on-site body shop. That makes it easy for you. With experienced, tenured professionals ready to answer your questions and diagnose your vehicle quickly and efficiently. Our priority is customer service. Make Chevrolet of Troy your first stop for service, parts, and body shop. 1375 South Market Street and online at ChevroletofTroy.com.
Add style to your bathroom with a Kohler Elate sliding shower door at Menards. The frameless design emphasizes its tempered glass to create a sleek, minimalist look. The Kohler Elate sliding shower door is available in different finishes and features clean coat technology, which creates a barrier between the water and the glass to help keep the door looking like new. Save big money on Kohler shower doors. Now at Menards. Savings good through January 22nd.
Save big money at Menards.
Have you heard? $5,000 sign-on bonus. That's right. My friends at Cordell Transportation are now hiring Class A CDL drivers for home daily dedicated lanes, no-touch freight with brand new equipment, and offering a $5,000 sign-on bonus paid over 18 months, paid orientation, company 401k. Plus, they're now hiring recent truck driving school graduates. Apply today. Online at CordellTransportation.com. Driven to succeed.
I'm Terry Krupp of Laird's Tax and Accounting, serving this area's tax and accounting needs for over 80 years. Tax season is here. We invite you to discover how we can make your tax filing experience easier. Our professional staff assures your return is accurate with maximum use of legitimate deductions. Since our founding, we have been trusted because of our knowledge of the tax code and for standing behind your return if the IRS calls. Contact us at 937-325-6571. Information at lairdstax.com.
Are you ready for tax season? Belmont Business Consultants and Tax Services is ready for you. If you want to come in person, it's a safe environment. Or you can just drop off. Belmont Tax also provides a completely virtual, secure client portal. For business or personal, if you want the accurate deductions you deserve, contact Belmont Tax in Dayton and Eaton. Go to BelmontBCTXS.com. BelmontBCTXS.com.
Are you starting to question your gambling?
Or the actions of someone you love?
It may be time to talk to someone who understands.
Call the Problem Gambling Helpline today and talk to a trained specialist.
There's no judgment and no commitment.
Plus, it's completely free and confidential.
We're here for you. You are not alone.
And remember,
we all have the power to change.
With the Problem Gambling Helpline of Ohio.
Make the call today.
Call the Problem Gambling Helpline of Ohio at 1-800-589-9966.
I'll second guest dinners with friends because they can be interrupted by diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or oily stools. It turns out I have EPI, or exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, which means I'm missing the enzymes needed to digest food. My doctor prescribed Creon, pancrelipase, an oral prescription medication that replaces pancreatic digestive enzymes. Creon treats EPI due to cystic fibrosis, chronic pancreatitis, pancreatectomy, or other conditions.
Creon may increase your chance of fibrosing colonopathy, a rare bowel disorder. Tell your doctor if you have a history of intestinal blockage or scarring or thickening of your bowel wall, if you're allergic to pork, or if you have gout, kidney problems, or worsening of painful swollen joints. Call your doctor if you have any unusual or severe gastrointestinal symptoms or allergic reactions. Take Creon as directed by your doctor and always with food. Do not chew capsules, as this may cause mouth irritation. Other side effects may include blood sugar changes, gas, dizziness, sore throat, and cough. These are not all the side effects of Creon.
Creon is the #1 prescribed EPI treatment. Ask your doctor about Creon for EPI and visit creoninfo.com or call 800-633-9110 to learn more. That's CREONinfo.com.
With Discover, you can redeem your rewards for cash in any amount at any time. Learn more at discover.com/redeem rewards. Terms apply.
Whether you're at home, at work, or in your car, tune in to ESPN 1410 Wing AM or stream us live at wingam.com.
Justin Kinner, Kev Nash, back with you here on Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM. I promise you we will get back to all of the NFL playoff talk. What a wild weekend it was, and the super wild card weekend. I mean, come from behind wins, near upsets, stars stepping up, and newcomers shining in their playoff debuts. The NFL super wild card weekend definitely provided a ton to be excited about, including the Bengals holding off the Ravens in Cincinnati. We, of course, recapped that to open up the show. We'll get back to that side of things coming up in a moment, but I want to switch gears to something I'm also very passionate about. Everyone knows I'm a huge wrestling fan. I'm a huge wrestling fan, and I'm pretty excited because on February 1st, we're going to get to see for the first time ever AEW here in the Miami Valley. AEW Dynamite is going to be coming to Wright State University's Nutter Center on Wednesday, February 1st at Wright State University's Nutter Center. So I'm pretty excited about that, and I'm even more excited to bring on, of course, the CEO, GM, and head of creative for AEW, Mr. Tony Khan. Tony Khan, welcome, sir. How are you?
I'm very well. Thank you for having me on, Justin.
Pretty jacked. You guys are coming to Dayton for the first time. You guys have been around for a while, and I'm always checking with my sales reps. I'm like, are you guys hearing any word about AEW coming to Dayton? Where is AEW at? Finally, you guys are heading our way. I'm excited, Tony, and I know a lot of our listeners are as well. We love pro wrestling in the Miami Valley.
Well, it's a great market for wrestling, and the Nutter Center is a great wrestling venue. And like yourself, there's a lot of great wrestling fans around Dayton. So we're excited to see you all February 1st coming up just in a few weeks. AEW debut in Dayton. We're going to bring a huge event there. I promise. You have my word. It's going to be a great show. This is not one of those wrestling shows coming to town where it's not the big TV production. This is not like a house show. I know, and we all know, so many of us have gone to wrestling events, especially when you're younger. You know, you go as a kid and you think you're getting what you see on TV, and sometimes it's not the case. Well, this is exactly what you see on TV. It is what you see on TV. We're going to do the show live on TBS from Dayton. We're also going to be filming a great episode of Friday Night Rampage for TNT. You'll get 3 hours of great wrestling television, all filmed there, 2 hours live on TBS, plus 1 hour live on 1 hour taped for TNT. It's going to be a great show, and I'm going to load it up for the fans in Dayton because I know it's a great wrestling town, and we just have really great fans in Ohio. It's a great market for us.
Pretty excited about it. And we have, of course, AEW's Tony Khan hanging out with us here this afternoon on the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash. Now, Tony, it's interesting because I've been a wrestling fan my entire life. So obviously when you have World Wrestling Entertainment, and for the longest time after WCW disbanded, of course, or was absorbed, I should say, WWE kind of owned had all the territories, however you want to word it. They owned the wrestling industry for the longest time. And then you would hear other companies kind of come in, and then you get excited about it, and then they'd go away. And after quite a few of them, I just kind of like, okay, I'm just focusing on this brand over here. This is the one. And then we hear about AEW. And now I would never lie to you. At the beginning, I'm like, okay, we'll see if this works, because I know everything, right? Like I'm like, oh, we'll see if this works. And then here you guys are, and you're not just here, and you're not just some side for it. You are doing it, and you're doing it at such a high level. I have to ask, what is it that you're doing that is working? Because so many others tried. What is it about what are you doing differently that you think is working that maybe some of the other promotions couldn't pull off, in your opinion?
Well, there were a number of key things I felt that needed to be done to launch a successful worldwide wrestling promotion. I think you need to have great TV partners, and that's the biggest thing we had. We had a great roster of wrestlers, and it has to be something that the fans are really going to believe in and get behind, because that's what it's all about. And we've been able to do that with AEW. We have a great audience every week. Tomorrow night, we have Wednesday Night Dynamite live on TBS, just like we're going to have there in Dayton at the Nutter Center in a few weeks. I highly encourage all of you, please check out the show tomorrow night on TBS. See what you're going to be in store for. It's building up to a great show in Dayton, but tomorrow night is also one of the most stacked lineups we've had on AEW Dynamite. It's the 172nd episode of AEW Dynamite now, which is amazing. We've been doing the show for over 3 years, going into year 4 now, and we're off to a great start to 2023. It's been really good. We've been doing great shows on the West Coast. If you check out the show tomorrow night, it'll be live from Fresno. Will be the first time we've ever done the show in Fresno. The prior week, last week, we were in LA, we were in Seattle and Portland, had these great audiences, great live crowds. And I know we're going to get that same great energy from all of you fans there in Dayton. I've heard great stuff about Dayton in particular, but I've spent a lot of time in Ohio. I grew up in the Midwest, right down I-74. And I have to say, some of the most passionate and really loyal fans in all of sports are there in Ohio, and Dayton in particular is known for being a great wrestling city, which is why I am going to bring the best wrestling show to Dayton on February 1st, Wednesday, and you'll get to see a look at what it looks like and the great action tomorrow night if you check it out on TBS at 8 o'clock.
Tony, when you first started this venture, your expectations, like when you start AEW, you have a vision and you have a plan. And from when you first started and you're looking out, man, in the first 3 years, I hope we are here. When you think back to what your vision and expectations were when you first started, and now fast forward to now and where you are at now, are you about where you expected to be? Have you exceeded expectations? Or is there still more that you're trying to take this to? Where are you at with where you envisioned this going? Let's say 3 years ago, obviously heading into year 4 now. Where are you at with expectations coming in versus where you guys are at right now?
Oh, I think right now we're far ahead of my wildest dreams for AEW. When we launched, I was very happy to have 2 hours Wednesday Night Dynamite live and the 4 big pay-per-view franchises we had established. And my goal was just to keep those strong and keep it going, because nobody else had been able to do that for decades, to sustain that kind of success. We've been able to do it. And that to me is real success. And not only do we have Wednesday Night Dynamite live every week on TBS, just like tomorrow, and the great show we're bringing to you fans in Dayton at the Nutter Center there on February 1st. It'll be also live on TBS. But we've established a second show with Friday Night Rampage on TNT, which is amazing. That was not something we'd originally signed up for. So that is amazing to have a second show so quickly. But also we've built another great pay-per-view franchise with the partnership with New Japan teaming up with AEW, and now with Forbidden Door. And that's something very cool. We offered the fans that crossover event, and I think that's something people can look forward to, hopefully for many years to come. So really, not only have we been able to continue and and maintain the great franchises we built in AEW when we launched in the first year, with Dynamite on Wednesday nights on TBS and these big 4 pay-per-views, Revolution, Double or Nothing, All Out, and Full Gear. But also we built a new franchise on TV with Rampage and a new franchise on pay-per-view with Forbidden Door. So it's grown really quickly, and it's the biggest year we've ever had on pay-per-view. Our TV deal continues to get better and bigger, and it's a great time to be a wrestling fan, I really believe. And I think AEW, we've tried to help, make it the best time to be a wrestling fan.
Tony Khan, AEW CEO, GM, and head of creative for AEW. We talked about the production of the show and how big of a card you're going to be, promoting here in the coming weeks as we get closer. But the roster you guys have too is just beyond impressive. For those who grew up with one brand of wrestling growing up, who were very familiar with a lot of names, that might be the draw that initially gets people hooked. And then all of a sudden you start learning about some other names. Like I'm using me as an example, like MJF, and obviously Adam Page and some other names from the independent circuits that have come in to be mega stars for your promotion. Now, just talk about a little bit about your roster and just obviously just the mix of so many talents coming from previous promotions as well. Talk about your roster and how that kind of helps obviously with the production and the stage and everything else that you when you put on an AEW show.
Well, right now the AEW roster is the strongest we've had, and it's top to bottom the best lineup in all of pro wrestling. You've got some of the top stars in the world who came in. They were already established when they got here. Big names like a Chris Jericho, Jon Moxley, who I think is Ohio's greatest wrestler, and we'll be looking forward to having Jon Moxley in Dayton coming up soon. Those huge names who'd come in, they were world champions when AEW launched, but then since then we've had Bryan Danielson arrive in AEW, maybe the biggest name in wrestling in my lifetime, Sting, and certainly some of the top names of the wrestlers that were wrestling internationally when we launched AEW. Top names like Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks, who had been wrestling overseas, and Pac. But then we've also developed all these great homegrown stars, like you mentioned, MJF, the world champion, or Darby Allin, the TNT champion, Jungle Boy, Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, and so many others. The Acclaimed, the world tag team champions, stars that came into their own here in AEW, like all of those I mentioned, or the All-Atlantic champion, Orange Cassidy. And these are really popular wrestlers who've come into their own and hadn't been really nationally recognized before they got into AEW. Jade Cargill, the TBS champion, would be another great example of that. So we have a lot of great homegrown champions, and of course, the women's world champion, Jamie Hayter. So many great stars who made their name, made their worldwide presence and TV reputation in AEW, but then also a lot of stars who came in with the big names, like some of the ones I mentioned, or the Hardys, or a number of others, Keith Lee, and people who've come into AEW with that reputation already built. Recently, Double J, Jeff Jarrett, arrived in AEW and has been doing incredibly well. And I think we have a great roster of names, people that would be familiar to wrestling fans over the years. Dustin Rhodes, another great name like that. And so many top stars, but then also really we've built a lot of homegrown stars along the way. So thanks for asking about it.
Yeah, Tony, the thing that's fun is, I mean, obviously, you work with, part of the ownership of the Jacksonville Jaguars. You're the chief football strategy officer for the Jaguars. And, if you put your GM cap on, I mean, how cool would it be when you're building the Jaguars to just go get the best? I mean, you have a pretty damn good quarterback right now, by the way, but to go get the best wide receivers, the best offensive line, the best defensive line, get the best of every weapon you can imagine. That's always the fun of doing that. But you get to do that in the wrestling world with AEW. How fun is that? You're putting together this almost like, a fantasy wrestling lineup of AEW stars mixed with some well-knowns and up-and-comers and current stars, of course. That has to be fun building a wrestling roster, especially a roster that I'm sure even when you started couldn't imagine having Sting and some of these other big major stars on your promotion.
Absolutely. We launched with some big names. Chris Jericho from the very beginning. He's the first ever AEW World Champion. He's been a huge part of the show. And like I mentioned, Jon Moxley showed up at the end as a big surprise on our first AEW event. And Jon Moxley, I think, is certainly in your local area, I think, got to be one of the most popular wrestlers I've ever seen. And he's somebody that fans all over the world recognize. So we had some established names at the beginning, but like you said, who would have thought Sting and Bryan Danielson would join us along the way?
All right, good stuff. AEW's Tony Khan, CEO, GM, and head of creative for AEW. I can't wait. AEW coming to Wright State University's Nutter Center Wednesday, February 1st. It's the first time we'll get to see the AEW promotion come to the Miami Valley. Fans have been contacted the station asking about it. They can't wait. We can't wait as we get closer to talk more about it as well. Pretty jacked about that. Here's what we're also jacked for, Tony, as we, on the way out. The Jacksonville Jaguars. We're big Jags fans right now because we want to see Patrick Mahomes and we want to see the Chiefs knocked out of the playoffs. We want new blood in there. The Bengals and the Jaguars. That is what this area's dream AFC championship game is for everyone tuning in right now. And I'm pretty sure that's yours as well. Talk about obviously the historic magical run for the Jags right now and the excitement level you have heading into this big matchup with the Chiefs and the divisional round coming up this weekend.
Oh, it's going to be so awesome for the city. It's so great for the players and everybody at the organization, how everybody's come together and the players have rallied, all these great comeback wins they have. I mean, when you look at all the great comeback wins the Jaguars have in recent weeks, it's amazing. Not only are we on a great winning streak, but it's involved coming back from down 17 points, from down 10 points, down 17, down 9, and down 27. So all these comebacks have really led to this kind of storybook situation where we have a playoff game. We have this great opportunity to go play the Kansas City Chiefs at Arrowhead, and I think it's going to be hopefully a great game. Everybody at the team is really excited for it. Obviously, our coach, Doug Peterson, has been such an awesome leader, and Doug is very familiar with Kansas City, very familiar with the Chiefs, and of course, very familiar with Andy Reid. Doug was the offensive coordinator for the Chiefs and worked under Andy. He also played under Andy as a quarterback. So I know it means that much more, but really, I mean, everybody is so bought in. I think everybody is throwing their support behind Doug, and we've never had this kind of great leadership that he's brought to the organization. And I think right now everybody believes that, like Doug told them all along, Doug said this was going to come down to week 18. And when we were 2-6, when we were 3-7, nobody particularly outside of the building would have believed it. And the odds makers wouldn't have believed it, certainly, but it happened and it came down to week 18 and the guys did it. They got it done and the Jags made the playoffs, and then they pulled off that historic comeback win on Saturday night, and they put us in this position to have this great opportunity, and I know they're going to make the most of it, and I'm really happy for the guys.
Tony, all I got to say is Duval.
Lots of Jags fans here.
Yeah.
Again. All right, Tony Khan, AEW. Tony, you the man. Appreciate you, sir.
Thank you so much for having me on. Hopefully I'll see you at AEW at the Nutter Center on February 1st, and we'd love to have everybody listening. Please join us Wednesday, February 1st at the Nutter Center for AEW. And hopefully you can check the show out tomorrow night live on TBS. It'll be the same kind of great show we're going to bring. It'll be fresh matches, but you'll get that great TV production and you'll be on TBS if you come to the show.
All right. Good stuff. Tony, thank you so much, sir. Take care.
Thanks for having me on.
All right, there you go. AEW's Tony Khan, awesome enough to hang out with us here a little bit today to promote AEW's first appearance in the Miami Valley coming up on February 1st. It's a Wednesday night AEW Dynamite. And of course, we had to make sure we got a little NFL talk in there. Of course, he's the chief football strategy officer of the Jacksonville Jaguars, his dad, the full owner of the team. But a lot of excitement in Jacksonville, just like in Cincinnati right now. Two teams, young quarterbacks, two teams who aren't really known for winning at this level. And yet, again, big-time divisional round matchups coming up to set up what can be a very fun and exciting AFC championship game coming up here in the coming weeks. All right, I'm Justin Kenner. He's Kev Nash. We'll be back in just a few moments.
Listen, Stream, watch. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, right here on Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM.
And now another no-brainer money-saving tip from Progressive.
That doesn't sound good.
Paper shredder's jammed, but I think I fixed it.
Oh, well, try shredding these $50 bills then.
Seems like it's working.
Better try another $400.
Stop. Instead of using money, use regular paper. And here's a better tip from Progressive on how not to waste money. Don't pay too much for car insurance. Drivers who switch and save could save hundreds. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary.
Is your tub worn out, but you're not sure who to trust to replace it? With over 2 million successful bath remodels, people trust Bathfitter because we know how to do it right. We've been custom designing and manufacturing baths for over 35 years. Our unique tub-over-tub installation takes as little as a day with no demo to fit your busy schedule. And we offer a lifetime warranty on every tub. That's how confident we are in our quality and durability. Bathfitter, it just fits. Visit bathfitter.com to book your free consultation.
Here at Roosters, we're not just a fun casual joint. We're a family. No matter who we are serving, our guests or our community, we strive to better the lives of those around us. Whether it's aiding in the battle against cancer, helping to educate the next generation, or simply putting a smile on someone's face, the Roosters Foundation has helped raise over $1 million annually for local charities. Our community has given us so much. This is the least we can do. Roosters, we're a fun casual joint, but so much more.
You have empty office space to fill or home office to create. You know what you need. You know what you'd like. But you also have a pretty good idea after you've shopped around the usual places what you need and what you like might not happen. Well, then you haven't been to Charles Larrick's Warehouse Outlet. Nobody has their selection. Nobody has their discounts. And every week, there's something new. If you need office furniture, Larrick's Warehouse Outlet can sell it to you for half the price and below manufacturer's selected prices. Half price and below on hundreds of items. Selection from budget to the best. Really, desks from $50 to $5,000. Filing cabinets from $25 to $500. Before you go anywhere else, do yourself a favor and come to Larrick's Warehouse Outlet. With 25,000 square feet of selection, you're not going to go anywhere else. Larrick's Warehouse Outlet at 23 McOil Avenue, Dayton. Open Monday through Friday, 9 to 6. Larrick's, continuing the tradition.
Don't put it off any longer. You know it's time. Time for a bathroom upgrade by Bath Creations. Bath Creations is a leader in bathroom renovations, providing the very best value in bath and shower remodeling and proudly made in the USA. With Bath Creations, you get a beautiful modern bathroom that's safe, comfortable, and affordable. Attention first responders, veterans, and active military. Save $500 off your purchase right now. Visit Poe Avenue in Dayton or online at mybathcreations.com. And upgrade today.
Jackson Hewitt guarantees your biggest tax refund, plus a chance to double your refund with the Double Your Refund sweepstakes. No purchase necessary. U.S. residents 18 or older who file a 2022 federal return ends 4/2/23.
Folks, the Colonel here with Homestead Feed and Supply. Homestead is proud to introduce Purina feed products, including Fitter, Honor Show Feeds, Depth Charge. Heck, they've even got the golden ticket. Come out to Homestead Feed and Supply, 1833 North Dayton Lakeview Road, New Carlisle. Tell them the Colonel sent you.
Research shows listeners prefer a personalized experience. So to help you remember, Liberty Mutual customizes your home insurance. We personalized this ad for Amber, who really misses boy bands from the 90s.
Hey girl, I'm the cute one, here to tell you how Liberty Mutual customizes your home insurance so you only pay for what you need.
I'm the heartthrob. The only thing I love more than you is saving. And I'm the other boy in the band everyone forgot about.
Just happy to be here. Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
I had a nighttime routine for my frequent heartburn. I would drink milk, I would sleep upright with more pillows, but that painful burning stayed. So I made Prilosec OTC part of my morning routine. With just one pill each morning, Prilosec OTC prevents excess acid production, blocking heartburn day and night. Now I have a new nighttime routine. I call it sleeping.
One pill a day, 24 hours, zero heartburn. With Prilosec OTC. It's possible while taking Prilosec OTC. Use as directed for 14 days to treat frequent heartburn, not for immediate relief.
This is Education Matters with Ohio Education Association President Scott Tomorrow.
Ohio's public schools serve 1.7 million students of all races, backgrounds, genders, and ethnicities. We need educators in our classrooms that reflect that beautiful diversity. I've been a high school social studies teacher for decades, so I know personally how rewarding a career in public education can be. Please consider joining our great profession.
Education Matters, brought to you by the Ohio Education Association.
With Discover, you can redeem your rewards for cash in any amount at any time. Learn more at discover.com/redeem rewards. Terms apply.
Want to know how you can satisfy every comfort food craving? Stop by Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken and try a home-style bowl for only $4.59. You'll get a bowl of our mashed potatoes with breast strip bites, corn, and gravy, all topped off with shredded cheddar cheese to create a truly unbeatable bowl. Get your every wish in one hearty, craveable dish when you try a home-style bowl from Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken for only $4.59. Only at Lee's. Famous for chicken.
Jackson Hewitt guarantees your biggest tax refund, plus a chance to double your refund with the Double Your Refund sweepstakes. No purchase necessary. U.S. residents 18 or older who file a 2022 federal return ends 4/2/23.
You don't have to go through yet another year with that knee pain or back pain. People with chronic joint pain are getting real lasting relief from QC Kinetics. Hey, it's Keith Byers. QC Kinetics is the nation's leader in advanced regenerative medicine. Their unique protocols use healing agents from your own body to target aching joints, repairing and restoring damaged tissue. Got shoulder pain, excruciating hip pain? If you have any arthritis pain or lingering pain from an injury, don't let them operate on you or give you more steroids. And say no to the pain pills. Call QC Kinetics and see if their life-changing, all-natural treatments can get you living your best life in the new year. I'm telling you, people are raving about these treatments. This is the future of joint pain management, and appointments are available as soon as the next week. Make 2023 the year you say goodbye to joint pain. Call QC Kinetics for a free consultation, 937-936-0325. That's 937-936-0325.
Cordell Transportation is now hiring Class A CDL drivers. Excellent pay, benefits, and a $5,000 sign-on bonus. Apply today. Online at CordellTransportation.com. Driven to succeed.
There's never any FOMO with the iHeartRadio app. You won't ever have to miss out on your favorite shows and contests with this radio station again. Radio 24/7, 365. We're here when you want us. Stay connected and listen anywhere when you download the free iHeartRadio app.
The Tile Shop is your destination for ceramic, porcelain, and natural stone tile and luxury vinyl tile. Explore a wide range of unique looks and exclusive designs. Visit your local Dayton Tile Shop showroom today.
We are Dayton's home of the Ohio State Buckeyes.
And into the end zone goes Chris Olave. KJ Hill, 6-yard touchdown catch. Right sideline and down he goes to the end zone.
WING 1410 Dayton, Dayton's ESPN Radio.
Hour number 3. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash here on 1410 ESPN Radio. What you just heard, of course, our conversation from earlier in the week with the owner of AEW All Elite Wrestling, Tony Khan. He was awesome enough to hang out with us for a little bit, and excited to have our next guest on, former Dayton Flyer, Mr. Norm Grevey. Norm, welcome in, sir.
Hey.
You don't own any wrestling promotions or anything, do you?
No, that's
think
far
so.
from my
It's far from
repertoire
yours.
there. But yeah, thanks for having me on. Looking forward to doing these shows here going forward, and hopefully we have a lot of good things to talk about.
So, there was a stretch a while back. It's been about a month. The last time what was the game that we were out at Tim's? We went to Tim's. We did a pregame, and I can't remember who UD played that day, but it was coming off of that tough Virginia Tech loss.
And the team they beat they had that Pembert. I forget he made a last second three not too long ago. They had a big win. I think it was UNC, maybe Asheville.
It was Asheville.
Yeah.
That's not a big team by any means, but they needed that team to kind of beat up on after that tough loss against Virginia Tech. And then they haven't looked like that team against Virginia Tech since. I know they had that, the little letdown against VCU this past Friday night, which they've, put behind them. They rebounded with a big win last night against Davidson. But no, things trending in the right direction for Dayton right now. You and I were kind of talking before. Look, I know that the goal of this program is to be an at-large bid every year, top 25 team every year. Those are the aspirations, as they should be. But on the flip side, because some of those goals have now been kind of, scrapped a little bit for where we're at this point of the season, sometimes it allows you to kind of breathe a little bit. Now you have time to get healthy. Now you have time to kind of regroup a little bit. And that's exactly what they've done. And now they're in a situation where, well, what have they lost, really? I mean, they're still the top team in the A-10. They're getting healthier. By the time they get to the A-10 tournament, which unless things drastically change, basketball is wide open right now on the college level. They're going to be fully healthy. They're going to be that product that we were expecting them to come in November. And if they end up coming out on top, we're freaking out for nothing all the way back in early November, like most Flyers fans do, which that's the passion coming out, of course. But you watching this journey over the last month of how Anthony Grant has got this team to kind of buy in and put some of those tough losses behind him, let the injury bug kind of, all right, got to put it behind us. They've regrouped. They're re-energized. And again, the VCU game aside, doesn't matter. The point is, this is a much different looking basketball team from the last time you and I worked together.
Well, very true. And the one thing is VCU has a loss, and we're both teams are 5-1, and we meet 6 games from now. So I look at this stretch here with 5 games coming up, two home games and 3 road games. Richmond's the real test on the I think we have them at home during this 5-game stretch. With Loyola, we go to GW. I think Coach Grant's done a fantastic job of managing the bench. He's had to play Brady Ewell at times at point guard for emergency duty. We have a point guard that's a top 100 player coming out of high school. We've had to develop him. He's had many minutes that he wasn't expecting to get. He wasn't going to plan to be the leader and the running the show. And you look how he's developed Kamara and Deron Holmes. We focus in on our strengths, and we're not getting away. We're not jumping into any different lanes. We're not out going to get 80 points on anybody, and that's a loss if we do. We're playing strong, physical defense, utilize your bench, timely three-point shooting, and just pound it inside to decimate their opponent, which they have proven to do every game this year.
Yep.
Okay, maybe not VCU, but every game this year, Anthony Grant has had his team dominating the opponent. Whether it was Wisconsin, we were dominating them we had the ball 3 times with a minute left to win, maybe 3 times in 24 seconds.
Well, keep in mind, people about that Wisconsin game. Everyone was so focused on, man, we only scored 40 that we forgot that you held Big Ten Wisconsin top 20. You held them to 40 something.
Exactly.
Like I know everyone focused on the negative, but I'm like, I think we're all forgetting the fact that you just watched Dayton hold Wisconsin to 40 freaking points. That's hard to do. By the way. That's hard to do.
Very hard to do. I mean, those are very good basketball players and a very well guard can coach. Masterful game. We didn't pull it out. We had some injuries. Yeah, there was a period of time in the VCU game we were up 16 and was dominating them. There was a period of time against BYU where we were up maybe 20. I don't know, was it 27 points in the first half?
Yep.
Complete domination. So I think we've seen a glimmer of what this team can be. We've yet to play 40 minutes of basketball against decent squads. We've yet to play 40 minutes, but we've played dominating halves, and those are things you can build on now that we have our health, now that we have Malachi back. We're going to be playing 8 guys, 20 minutes. The starters are going to get more rest. We now have a rotation of 9 players, including Zemi. So I'm very excited going forward, but here's the key. 1 game at a time. Just 1 game at a time.
That's your little coach hat. You just put on. You didn't come in with the hat, but there it is. The coach's hat is officially put on. But, you talk about 1 game at a time. Well, what are those games coming up? I mean, obviously this coming up Saturday at George Washington. So that's coming up. That's going to be another road game right there.
Against the leading scorer in the league. Their guard.
And then they'll have their, again, the good defense for UD. They'll have their hands full with that. But then they're going to be on the road at Archie Miller. They have Rhode Island coming up around the corner.
And Rhode Island's struggling, but that's always a catch game, and there'll be added emotion for the Rhode Island Rams for sure.
You got George Washington, at George Washington, at Rhode Island. Richmond, is who's after the Rhode Island game
at home,
and that's at home. And then
4 o'clock Saturday game. Yep. Hopefully, everyone goes to Tim's pregame and has one heck of a time because we're going to need a loud and vocal group of Flyer Nation there.
I think Nick and Marty are like, are you two coming out then?
On a revenge game that costed us an NCAA tournament game, up 16 against Richmond. We need them to pay the price.
So
Saturday at 4 p.m. a few weeks from now. I should be a promoter.
Yeah, see, there you go. AEW right there. That's your AEW hat. But no, again, former Dayton Flyer Norm Grevey hanging out with us here today. Every Wednesday moving forward for the remainder of the season, we'll have Norm come in and hang out. We'll talk about where the Flyers are at. And right now, I think the last time when you and I talked about doing this starting in Wednesdays after the football season was over, I didn't know really where to expect UD to be with where we're at right now. But again, this team just had a winning streak kind of snapped against VCU. Of course, their last loss before that was against Virginia Tech in that 77-49 beatdown. It was kind of bleak at that time. We didn't know where this team was going. Yes, you had Duran. Yes, you had Kamara. There was some good pieces there, but they weren't playing collectively as a group. However, all of that's changed since then. You talked about kind of changing the dynamic of just pummeling teams and doing it with the size. The one thing I found most interesting, especially, they beat some bad teams along the way, but that's what you got to do. But that VCU matchup, what was interesting, they did everything in their power to take, obviously, Duran Holmes away, and then Kamara just punched him in the mouth. I mean, he had like 15 points or 13 points in the first 10 minutes of that ball game. Then they had to change up their defense. Then Duran went back to dominating. Obviously, guard play can improve, and that will as they get healthier. And already getting Malachi back last night was already a big improvement in the limited minutes that he played, just an extra ball handler out on the field or on the floor. So we're kind of at the point now where it's like this team, usually you don't get to get better while winning. They're winning ball games and they're getting better. That's what's scary about how good this team could be. Remember last time they made the tournament, not 20, but Archie's last year, they faced a Wichita State team that had no business being seated where they were. That Wichita State team should have been seated a lot higher. I have a feeling that's going to be a UD team. It's good enough to be seated a lot higher. That's going to be a pain in the ass for any team that they run into in the tournament.
Right.
Obviously, they got to get there, but I think this UD team is going to be really good come March.
I think you make a great point. And here's the thing, Justin, we only have really, let's look ahead and you look at who the competition is. We have VCU. Obviously, they play better against us at our place than, for whatever reason. But I think we'll face them and for the conference championship at their place. Winner take all in that game. And I think we may see VCU or St. Louis in the A-10 championship game. And I really don't think we're going to get swept by any of those guys. In fact, I think we could sweep St. Louis, and I think we'll have a revenge game on VCU. But with all that saying, yes, having Malachi gives us a ball handler at the end of games. And against VCU and against these other teams, even though we have pure domination for stretches, whether it's 10, 15, or 20, and I think for some reason we kind of go into prevent mode.
Yep.
Okay. And I'd like to see us stay on the throttle. And you can't do that when you're just playing 7 guys. So I think Coach Grant's now going to have the ability to put the throttle, put the pedal to the metal. When we get to the lead, we have to maintain. That's our biggest thing going forward in the second half of this year is when we get a lead, don't let Fordham cut it back to 8 or 9. Don't let VCU get on a run. That whole second half, even though we were in the lead, the crowd was into it. VCU controlled that tempo that whole second half. We were waiting till the last 2 seconds of the shot clock to even look for our shot. We have to get better at managing shot clocks with the lead going into these second halves and put the pedal to the metal and don't let teams come on us, period.
Former Flyer Norm Grevey with us here. It's the Justin Kinder Show with Kev Nash, 1410 ESPN Radio, Dayton's ESPN radio station. If you want to reach out to Norm, you could text the show 937-518-1410. 937-518-1410. Text the show any questions for Norm, or you can give us a call at that same number as well, 518-1410. Text or call the show. Well, we still got a lot to get into because we got to get into the kind of the acceleration of Duran Holmes and the career trajectory there. I was joking at the beginning of the season when things weren't going so hot. I'm like, well, I guess the plus side is we might get Duran back for another year. But now that may not be the case. I'm seeing some NBA mock drafts that have this dude going in the first round, which isn't a surprise. I think it's a surprise considering how the season started. He kind of stumbled out of the gate a little bit too, as did the whole team. But and it wasn't really a criticism. It was me kind of waiting to see, okay, one thing about Obi, we saw Obi lead and will teams to games, to wins. We didn't see that from Duran early on in the season. It wasn't a shot at him. It was just the reality of it. And then all of a sudden during this win streak, since that VTech game, like he's dropping upper 20s, he's dropping multiple 30-point games. I mean, teams could not stop him. He was literally the reason that they went on that win streak, amongst other things, of course. But your overall evaluation of just the growth of Daron Holmes, because this is a kid that I think really everyone kind of was looking at like, hey, this is on you too. You got to start carrying this team. And he has definitely met that challenge. And I think that's why all of a sudden everyone that had those expectations for him, he's living up to them. And that's why this team was able to kind of get through some of those tough times with all the injuries.
Absolutely. He's by far the leader of the group, the best player on the floor, best big man in the A-10. Definitely well, I wouldn't say definitely, but he's definitely going to be a high potential first-round pick. If we can make a name for himself across the country and get on a run and continue to prove that he can be the man inside. And what NBA scouts are looking at, they see other players that are 6'9", 6'10", built like Daron, and could they come into Dayton and average 19 points and 9 rebounds? And the answer is a quick no. So that's why he's emerged as a leader. His shot blocking is getting better. I guess teams would criticize potentially, his NBA level defense if it's there yet, which, who knows? But he has some great hands. His development on the block has been phenomenal. Using either hand, he never was able to use either hand last year. He can go up and just dunk on you this year, where he didn't do that last year. And I think he wants to get out on the break. And if you just wait, you're going to have Malachi now breaking defenses down, Justin, drawing the help, and he's going to be able to dump off for dunks. We haven't had that since November. Okay, we haven't had an easy kickoff to Daron for dunks all year long. He's been doing this on ISOs and double teams. Imagine now he's going to be able to do it off drive and dishes.
Pick and rolls and just roll into the bucket, be big.
Absolutely. This is even though he hasn't scored a lot the last couple of the games, Zeal stepped up last night. Tamani stepped up, even though he had 9 turnovers, stepped up. He was the man and had 27 or 29 points in a career night. But, he had some turnovers that bites you. You feel bad about that because he had a career night. But Daron's development is making other guys better by drawing defenses, and he's improving the team. He continues to rebound well, and I definitely think he's going to be a first-round pick. I don't see him sliding in the second round, but, personally, he's such a good kid. I don't think he's even worried about that. He knows he can play in the NBA. He wants to take this team to the NCAA tournament. That's what he wants.
Yeah, Brian Kobrowski, he's NBA staff writer, covers the draft as well for USA Today, and putting out his early mock drafts for the NBA. I know we talked a lot of NFL mock drafts, but we only talk about the NBA mock drafts when there's like an Obi Toppin or now a Daron Holmes that's kind of in the conversation now. But he had him going in the first round, late first round, to the Indiana Pacers. Again, that means nothing. It's just all, whatever, these mock draft conversations. But it is interesting kind of talking about the fact that, man, in the near future, we're going to be talking about 2 Flyers playing on, 2 different rosters in the NBA.
And Kamara has an NBA body, Justin, too. And I think he'll play his career out. Tamani.
If I said Kamara, I meant Holmes, but either way.
But yeah, right. You said Holmes. But I do think Tamani has an opportunity to play at the next level at the NBA if he can improve his shooting, which, he started the year out, ice cold from downtown, but he continued to defend and play 40 minutes and rebound and try to make guys better and make the team better. And now he's getting about 13 a game, and he doesn't have to do too much. And I really think that if he can develop his 3-point shot continuously, because he is shooting the ball better from downtown, he's got a chance. He's got a chance to make the NBA. And Mike, I think Mike has to improve on his speed with the ball, because we need our bigs to catch it sometimes without just a set defense. I think we can run more as a group, and that's just going to make our bigs that much better and harder to guard, getting guys out in transition. And I think that's a big thing with Malachi too. But we're not going to play him 25, 30 minutes a night for a while. That's why I mentioned Mike. I'd like to see him play a little faster because his length and height can see those defenses. And I love that he responded well last night. That he got 9 points after a tough game against VCU. Responded like a top 100 player needs to. You don't let one bad game lead to two. He develops. He's getting stronger mentally and hitting some jump shots. I'd just like to see him get a little more assertive at times in the shot clock. But that takes confidence, and that takes time to develop that.
Former Flyer Norm Grevey live in studio. Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, talking all things Dayton Flyers basketball. We'll step away for a few moments. Every Wednesday, Norm Grevey hanging out with us live here in studio. Excited about that. We're talking all things Dayton every Wednesday moving forward. We'll step away for a few. When we come back, last night Anthony Grant went to bat for his team. He had some interesting comments in the postgame. I'm curious Norm Grevey's thoughts on that. And thinking back to Norm Grevey's playing days, what would that be like? Playing at a time, again, you didn't even play during social media, but now you have sports betting on top of it.
I don't know how we do it.
I mean, yes. I mean, it's pretty interesting nonetheless. But social media is a tough era, is a tough time to play through as it is. Now you had sports betting on top of it. Well, Anthony Grant has heard and seen enough. He called everyone out last night. I thought it was fascinating. We'll have that audio coming up on the other side, and I'll get Norm's thoughts. That's coming up. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kevin Nash, 1410 ESPN Radio.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash on 1410 ESPN Radio.
ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
The mid-afternoon and early evening will be cloudy, a high near 45. Tonight's going to be cloudy and breezy with showers, a low near 40. And tomorrow's going to be mostly cloudy and breezy, a high near 60. I'm Pete Spivak for 1410 ESPN Radio.
The Specialized Recruiting Group takes an individual approach, placing people in contract and full-time roles. SRGExpress.com, now placing in accounting roles.
DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL, is officially live in Ohio, right in time for the NFL playoffs. Now you can legally bet on all your favorite sports, anytime and anywhere, right here in Ohio with DraftKings. For a limited time, new customers who sign up with promo code WING1410 and bet $5 or more will receive $200 in bonus bets instantly. Now, just because my Pittsburgh Steelers didn't make the playoffs doesn't mean I shouldn't try to make some money with some same-game parlays and player props. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. New customers can use promo code WING1410 to get $200 in bonus bets instantly when you place a $5 bet on anything. Only at DraftKings Sportsbook with code WING1410. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 and up. Physically present in Ohio. Valid one offer per first-time depositor who have not already redeemed $200 in free bets via pre-launch offer. Minimum $5 deposit and wager. $200 issued as bonus bets. Eligibility restrictions apply. See dkng.co/OH for terms.
Betting happens as fast as sports. And now every play is faster than ever before. You're on the edge of your seat until the moment when it's all on the line, which is why it's important to pause before you play. Sports are fast. Betting shouldn't be. So remember to set limits, know the risks, and pause before you play. To learn more, visit pausebeforeyouplay.org.
Hi, Greg McAfee here from McAfee Heating and Air. Inflation is hurting families. Gas and food prices continue to soar, but skilled trade jobs are paying at an all-time high rate. Why keep working for less? If you are experienced in HVAC, have a great attitude, love serving people, and enjoy working hard, apply today at mcair.com. That's mcair.com.
Are you involved with a school or charitable fundraiser that holds an auction, bid and buy booth, or a raffle to raise money? Many of the most popular items at auctions or booths are autographed sports memorabilia items. How can you get great items in your event? Call Adam Walter at Sports Investments. Sports Investments has a consignment program for fundraisers that has provided outstanding items. You select items that are proven sellers, including autographed pieces from Tiger Woods, LeBron James, Joey Votto, the Big Red Machine, the Bengals, the Browns, UC, XU, UK, NKU, Dayton, Louisville, Notre Dame, and Ohio State. Sports Investments consigns the items to your group at a highly discounted price. And when they sell, you keep the profit. You don't pay anything in advance. And if something doesn't sell, you simply return it. You'll enjoy the experience of dealing with the Walter family. Call them at 513-891-5000. Email Adam at sportsinvestments.com or visit them on Montgomery Road, right off I-275, just 40 minutes from WING.
If you need new roofing, siding, or gutters, skylights, or patio enclosures, if you're a homeowner or business and need someone you can trust, don't take a chance. Enhance with Lance. Lance Roofing and Siding in Fairborn has been satisfying customers since 1993 and hold an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. Lance Roofing and Siding, 8460 Dayton Springfield Road in Fairborn. Call for a free estimate at 864-2722. That's 864-2722 or online at lanceroofing.com.
Research shows listeners prefer a personalized experience. So to help you remember, Liberty Mutual customizes your home insurance. We personalized this ad for Amber, who really misses boy bands from the 90s.
Hey girl, I'm the cute one, here to tell you how Liberty Mutual customizes your home insurance so you only pay for what you need.
I'm the heartthrob. The only thing I love more than you is saving. And I'm the other boy in the band everyone forgot about.
Just happy to be here. Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
I had a nighttime routine for my frequent heartburn. I would drink milk, I would sleep upright with more pillows, but that painful burning stayed. So I made Prilosec OTC part of my morning routine. With just one pill each morning, Prilosec OTC prevents excess acid production, blocking heartburn day and night. Now I have a new nighttime routine. I call it sleeping.
1 pill a day, 24 hours, 0 heartburn. With Prilosec OTC. It's possible while taking Prilosec OTC. Use as directed for 14 days to treat frequent heartburn, not for immediate relief.
When you can't stop, there's Vicks VapoRub. Vicks VapoRub sends powerful medicated Vicks vapors right to the source of your... so you can experience cough relief and breathe easier. Generations of families have trusted Vicks VapoRub to help relieve the worst cold symptoms. So next time you have a cough, reach for the Vicks VapoRub. Vicks VapoRub. Cough relieving is believing.
Research shows listeners prefer a personalized experience. So to help you remember, Liberty Mutual customizes your home insurance. We personalized this ad for Amber, who really misses boy bands from the 90s.
Hey girl, I'm the cute one, here to tell you how Liberty Mutual customizes your home insurance so you only pay for what you need.
I'm the heartthrob. The only thing I love more than you is saving. And I'm the other boy in the band everyone forgot about.
Just happy to be here.
Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
With Discover, you can redeem your rewards for cash in any amount at any time. Learn more at discover.com/redeem rewards. Terms apply.
All sports, all the time. This is 1410 ESPN Radio.
Justin Kinner back with you here on Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM. Former Flyer Norm Grevey with us live here in studio. If you have a question for Norm Grevey, text the show 937-518-1410, or you can watch us live on the Justin Kinner Show Facebook page. That's where we are hanging out live today. If you have a question for Norm, leave it in the comment section. I'll obviously bring that to light, and he'll interact with you that way as well. Pretty excited to have you in here, Norm, of course, every Wednesday from now through the end of the Flyer season. We'll be hanging out with you each and every week. So I don't know.
That's going to be great.
I bet you lost. I don't know who forced you to sit through this punishment, but I appreciate that you are.
No, I'm ready. I thank you.
So there you go. All right. I'll get to the comments coming in again. The Justin Kinner Show Facebook page. Get in there, watch the show live. You can see Norm. Leave your comments in there. Before the break, talking about Anthony Grant. And last night, we heard one of the most passionate post-game messages from a coach about just real life situations. Like the thing is, like I work at sports betting went live in January 1st. I work for FanDuel. I endorse FanDuel, and I have a lot of fun with it, and I embrace it. And but like anything, of course, things could be used and abused, and all the negative lights, the negative stuff, of course, comes out. And when I place wagers and I lose, I get frustrated, all that stuff, like anybody does. But I've never once thought to pick up my phone and tweet at a player, or to tweet at a coach, or to DM, or to send a message, a direct message to a player and F you and F this and call every name in the book because that player did it before. Like there's enough pressure that this playing sports your entire life. Of course, the pressures you face are unbelievable that just common folk like me can't relate to. And then that was before social media was added into the mix. And now you add sports gambling into the mix. There's a whole other realm of people. Sports betting could be good for a lot of sports because it brings a lot more eyes on a product that wasn't there before. It's good for the NBA. It's good for NFL. It's good for baseball. We talked about how hypocritical those sports could be because you can't bet on them and stuff, but they embrace it. They make money off it. But people are watching products now that they normally don't watch because there's money interest and all that type of stuff. But you have people from California that don't have a lot of familiarity with the A10 or with Dayton or whatever, but they're tuning in because they place some money on some random school to them, and all of a sudden they're angry because some random school's random player cost them some money. Well, that's on them. But what's happening is a lot of these kids are getting, these guys on these teams are getting these hateful messages. They're getting just abused by these people, and they're like, you guys are already facing the stress of being an everyday athlete, and now you got these jerks who are jumping in from the sports gambling side of things. You played in an era, there was no social media, there was no sports gambling. So I'm curious, how would you manage playing through today's era? This is something these athletes are adjusting to. And then it's adjustment mid-season, January 1st, it went live. And Anthony Grant, it's not even 2.5 weeks into this, and Anthony Grant's already having to be very stern in these post-game comments. Hey, y'all need to back off, and he's standing up for his players. I think that's awesome.
Yes, I completely agree, Justin. Everything you said is correct. It's drawing interest into the NBA and college basketball. Viewership's all up across the board on NBA, even though it's been down for years. But long story short, credit Coach Grant. He's been through a lot. And he knows how emotional these players are. They're just young guys. They're trying to win for their university. They have to go to class too. They have pressures there.
Yep.
Even though there's NIL out there, I don't think anybody's breaking the bank, they have dreams of aspirations of playing in the NBA. They want to do better as a player and get stats and wins. And, he's protecting his guys, and I don't blame him. And you look at what's going on down at UK. They've won, 2 of 3, beat Tennessee, beat Georgia after a couple debacles in a tough year. Look what Cal's doing, a Hall of Fame coach, won a national title, been in the Final Four 5 or 6 times, could have had 3 or 4 NCAA titles. People want him gone down there, and they're all over the players. And, now I just think you just got to leave the phone in the locker, at the home. They're taking phones now night before games. You got to lock in. I think NFL teams do that as well. And you just have to be mature about it. You got to realize social media is a new game nowadays. Twitter is, people can say whatever they want. Facebook, you just have to use common sense, and you have to put faith in whatever you have faith in. And I do credit Coach, because he is Coach Grant is a player's first coach. He's coached in the NBA. He's coached on a national title team at Florida, where the guys were so together. And you look at that 020 team, how together that group was. Even the rebuild, which only took a season. He brings in Deron Holmes and Tamati Kamara. He brings in Malachi Smith. He brings in Kobe Brer. He transferred Kobe Elvis. The team wins 23 games of 24 games last year. And he's just protecting his guys. He knows what they went through in the offseason. There's pressure, man. And cream rises to the top. And he's trying to make that happen with his group. And he's been through a lot, with his family. And I think the players have been through a lot, starting out 5-5. And he's just trying to protect the guys. And they know that there's a big run coming up. And he wants them completely
mentally locked in.
Yep.
The problem is this ain't like, and I think it's a good start. The message from AJ too, it just sounded, it was directed towards a lot of Flyer fans in general, not all Flyer fans, but the words of, we don't need you. Like, if you're not gonna, if you're gonna put your agenda, and again, credit to him, he didn't say sports gambling at one point, but we all know what was being alluded to. We talked about the law that, changed and shifted earlier in the month and everything. And We know what he's alluding to, but basically saying you can't put your personal agenda, which the personal agenda most is, of course, their money that they placed on these games and stuff, which, of course, I don't shy from that. We have fun with that. I think it's fun betting on some of our local teams here, but if you do it responsibly, not everyone's doing that. So he's basically saying, hey, you do that, you're putting your selfishness, your personal agenda ahead of what the agenda of these kids are, the sacrifices they're making, commitment to UD, of course, that this community loves so much. But I think more coaches need to do that. And I don't think it should have taken I'm glad AG did it. I want to hear Ryan Day.
Yeah.
Ohio State football. I want to hear Calipari. I think all coaches need to come together.
The other thing that I would say about sports gambling, instead of putting your time, and I'm a financial planner for Wealth Management Group, I'm going to do my plug now. Down in Springboro, feel free to give me a shout down there or look me up. But here's the thing. Spend your time building your future. Don't spend an hour a day gambling. Spend an hour a day on what's a great stock to invest in, and don't sell it.
Or gamble and win, and then go see Norm Grevey.
Gamble and win, and then come see Norm Grevey.
It's a win-win. We could both win here, Norm.
Yeah,
we could both win.
But I think you should spend more time on your 401k than FanDuel. But hey, I know FanDuel's, and all these other DraftKings and all that stuff is great, for people that are having fun, but, don't take it out on the guys.
Mm-hmm.
They're not, there is NIL out there, but they're not making the money like the NFL guys. They're young kids. Some of them are just 18.
Yep.
Give them a break. Give all these other teams a break. Give the coaches a break. They're not out trying to lose. Look at Cal, the grief he's going in, maybe rightfully so, but he's not throwing games.
Is that a thing with Kentucky? Are people saying he's throwing games?
No, but I'm just trying to say he's not trying to lose.
That's the point.
He has his best interest.
This idea, like we say, like Norm, and now, like when Norm played, for those of you who don't know, he averaged like 36 points per game. He never missed. But if you had a bad game, I think about your worst game ever. Imagine going back to your locker, picking up your phone. I mean, can you imagine what the Justin Kinners of the world would tweet about Norm Grevey on your worst game?
It only takes 10 seconds.
Yes.
Down at Miami, I got a technical as a freshman. Costed us the game.
Nice.
I went 3 for 17 against Marquette. And I don't think it was from 3, but it was 2 for 11 from 3. And I was wide open the whole game in this stupid zone that Marquette had. And I missed almost every shot I took. And I lost a game against DePaul. I had a game-winning shot my senior year. And I think about those, but I don't think about them too much, Justin. I only think about the good things. But it develops you as a player. It makes you more even keel. And as I'll do my coach speak, there's highs and there's lows. And you just want to ride right in the middle and stay focused every day, getting better as a player. And I see it with these guys. I see it with Flyers. I'm seeing it with UK. I'm seeing it with even Wright State's starting to play better. They've struggled a little bit, games they should have won. I think they're going to be a tough out in their conference tournament. No doubt about it. You got NKU and I forget who else is playing well in that league, but you always got to
like 12 teams,
get through
teams 1 through 10.
State.
Yep. They have Cohill, by the way.
Yeah, Dwayne Cohill. It's a very balanced league, and I think Dayton's in a league that's very balanced, but there are 2 teams that completely stand out from other. Obviously, VCU and Dayton. We're going to see them, but yeah, people just got to relax. They're too tense on their own team, and they don't realize it's a long season. Not one goal has changed, other than maybe an at-large. But if they win out or only lose one game the regular season, they'd put them up almost like at 24 wins. You win 2 or 3 in the tournament. Now you got 27 wins. You're really going to keep a 27-win team? And that's the other thing. The NCAA selection committee, they use too many formulas and too many other stuff. If you just looked, there's no way in heck that last year there was 64. I don't know how many even go in and now. There was not that. It's not the 64 best teams. You got to take the UNC Wilmingtons. You got to take the Horizon League. Dayton was penalized last year for beating Kansas as a national title team. They were penalized for beating Virginia Tech, which won the ACC. They were penalized because they lost 3 games 5 months before the NCAA tournament started in November. Well, yeah, November, December, January, February, March. So 3 games in November, and the NCAA selection committee refused to look at Deron Holmes, who's going to be a first-round draft pick this year, refused to look at Anthony Grant as a phenomenal coach that can win a big game if we can get into a big game, because the COVID took our championship away, which there's no doubt we would have been a 1 seed. So I think Dayton, I'm very negative on the NCAA selection committee. I think they take the Power 5 teams. I'll ramble on again. The Big Ten outside of Purdue.
I was waiting for it.
It's an
I
average.
I was about to
league.
set you up with the Big Ten coming up here.
Yeah. It's just an average basketball league. Great coaches, great TV network, but very average basketball players. And the balance, like you say in the NBA, there's no favorite. Okay, you could pick out of a hat, and any team can win in that West 1 through 11. Whether it's the Lakers, whether it's the T-Wolves, whether it's the Nuggets can go and get 5 of 9 championships. Maybe they will. They're not healthy. I truly believe there's so much balance in college basketball. These selection committee guys are looking at formulas that I don't think anybody can figure out, and quads. That's ridiculous. Pick the best teams. Watch the games. Find the hottest teams at the end of the tournament. Forget about November and double up what's going on in February and March, and you'll have the best tournament in the world. But right now it's not, because great teams like Dayton and these mid-majors get stunk on.
Talks of potentially expanding the 68-team field.
I don't like the expansion. They should just get it right. There's too many teams out of the Big Ten. There's too many teams. They haven't won a national title in college basketball in over 2 decades. 2 decades, and really have never come close. And you got the SEC, which is stacked. I think Alabama's the best team in college basketball, and I don't think really there's a lot of teams close. But outside of that, Kansas and Alabama, maybe Houston, but they haven't beaten a lot of teams that are great. They don't play anybody that's great. They're in a decent average league. I don't know. I think this tournament is going to be unbelievable.
Yeah, every year I always say this is going to be the toughest year to fill out a bracket, but
Yes.
it keeps getting tougher every year. And when we come back, I want to ask you why that is. I mean, this is not a out of nowhere. Like, we haven't had a dominant. When was the last dominant college basketball team?
15 Kentucky.
Yeah, that Kentucky with that stacked
yeah.
rosters we've seen multiple times. At Kentucky, Carl
And they
Anthony
still didn't
Towns.
win it.
Yeah, so but it's been years since we've seen those stacked kind of rosters. Gonzaga's been a very well put together roster over the years. Villanova,
maybe, but they were all 4-stars that got the NBA. Archie Diacono, and you had the guy for the Bucks. Who's now on the. Virginia had a couple of dominant teams and lost first round and then won it all without 5-star guys other than Kyle Guy. But yeah, to your point, we haven't seen dominant teams, and usually the favorite doesn't win.
So is it the portal that has evened things out? We say think about
Absolutely.
this. Be thinking during the break. When we come back, we'll talk about why is there parity in college basketball now? Because what I've said, the portal's horrible for college basketball. The NIL's horrible. I have not said NIL's horrible for college basketball. Yes, people don't like them combined, especially because all we think about as fans is our rosters being gutted. I'm a Wright State guy. I watched Wright State have one of the best seasons in their program's history. They win their first NCAA tournament game. They should have had both of those cats back, and they both bolted. They both left. They're gone. We'll be right back. It's the Justin Kidder Show with Kev Nash. I don't know why Alexa is hijacking the show right now.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash on 1410 ESPN Radio.
Sometimes the best time to prune trees is when they're dormant or with no leaves on them. For ISA certified arborists, it helps them see what branches may need to be pruned or removed. Dormant season pruning can also help lessen problems associated with insects and diseases and help create structurally stronger trees that can better handle heavy wet snows or ice buildup. Contact an ISA certified arborist to get the best professional advice on keeping your trees healthy and safe. Go to treesforohio.org. That's trees, the number 4, ohio.org.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
They say they'll get your biggest tax refund. Jackson Hewitt says your biggest tax refund guaranteed, and a chance to double your tax refund. Thousands in weekly prizes during the Double Your Refund sweepstakes. Your biggest refund times 2, twice the money, so forget about them. File your taxes on the double at Jackson Hewitt today. No purchase necessary to enter or win. Open to U.S. residents 18 or older who file a 2022 federal tax return. Promotion ends 4/2/23. Visit jacksonhewitt.com for rules.
Don't put it off any longer. You know it's time. Time for a bathroom upgrade by Bath Creations. Bath Creations is a leader in bathroom renovations, providing the very best value in bath and shower remodeling, and proudly made in the USA. With Bath Creations, you get a beautiful modern bathroom that's safe, comfortable, and affordable. Attention first responders, veterans, and active military. Save $500 off your purchase right now. Visit Poe Avenue in Dayton or online at mybathcreations.com. And upgrade today. Cordell Transportation is now hiring Class A CDL drivers. Excellent pay, benefits, and a $5,000 sign-on bonus. Apply today. Online at CordellTransportation.com. Driven to succeed.
You've got advanced prostate cancer, but you're not waiting around. You want straight talk, the facts about Orgovix.
Orgovix Relagolix 120 milligram prescription tablets is a treatment for adults with advanced prostate cancer. Fact: Orgovix is a different kind of androgen deprivation therapy treatment, a pill, not an injection. Orgovix may cause serious side effects, including a heart condition called QT prolongation. Tell your doctor right away if you feel dizzy, faint, have a racing or pounding heart, or chest pain. Orgovix can cause harm to an unborn baby or miscarriage. Use birth control during treatment and for 2 weeks after Orgovix treatment. The most common side effects include hot flushes, increased blood sugar and blood fat levels, muscle and joint pain, decreased blood hemoglobin levels, increased liver enzymes, tiredness, constipation, and diarrhea. Other side effects include weight gain, decreased sex drive, and erectile function problems. Orgovix may cause infertility. Talk to your doctor if infertility is a concern for you.
Go with Orgovix. Ask your doctor. For more facts, visit gowiththefacts.com.
Hi, it's Steve Mann. Have you heard the commercials for the Mark Patrick Stop Smoking seminars? And they said only $49.99 and it could work for you. So I thought, that's not even a week's worth of smoking. So I went. And guess what? It did work for me. You know, my friends and family are still amazed. I quit smoking. I didn't have cravings, anxiety, or weight gain. Listen, I don't know how it works, but I know it works because I'm living proof, and it's 100% guaranteed. So what do you got to lose? I'll tell you what you got to lose. A very bad habit.
Mark Patrick Seminars. Stop smoking without cravings, irritability, or weight gain. Only $49.99 guaranteed. Don't just cut down, but stop smoking once and for all, or your money back. Seminar 8 p.m. on Thursday, January 26th at the Holiday Inn Dayton Fairborn, I-675 in Fairborn. Or 2 p.m. on Saturday, January 28th at the Holiday Inn Express and Suites, Dayton South, I-675 in Dayton. Registration 30 minutes before seminar. Sign up at markpatrickseminars.com. That's markpatrickseminars.com.
Listen to this station anytime, anywhere on Odyssey. Odyssey is your new audio home for all the music, news, sports, and podcasts that matter to you. Odyssey. That's AUDACY.
Shop Menards today and save big money. Put the finishing touches on your kitchen or bathroom with a new faucet from Moen. Moen creates faucets that feature innovative technology and have a timeless aesthetic. Available in a variety of styles and finishes, find the perfect faucet for your home with Moen's wide selection of kitchen and bathroom faucets. Moen faucets are great for resisting water spots and fingerprints. Save big money on Moen faucets at Menards.
Save big money at Menards.
With Discover, you can redeem your rewards for cash in any amount at any time. Learn more at discover.com/redeem rewards. Terms apply.
Hey everybody, it's Stephen A. Smith, and everyone knows my feelings on Cowboys fans. But really, Justin Kenner, you're a Cowboys fan and a Browns fan? Good Lord have mercy. I don't know what the hell to do with y'all. I really don't.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash. Weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. on 1410 ESPN Radio.
Former Dayton Flyer Norm Grevey live in studio with us. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash. Couple more minutes left of the show, but every Wednesday you can hang out with Norm and I from 5 to 6 right here on 1410 Dayton's ESPN radio station. Norm, before the break, we were talking about the fact that, college basketball right now, a lot of parity. And we, right now, college athletics, the landscape is just shifting so much because of NIL, the transfer portal. It's just a free for all. And then, of course, you have conference realignments and just these mega TV deals. And there was all this talk of, man, are we going to go down to just the SEC versus the Big Ten? And okay, once you get that from a football perspective, what does that mean for basketball? What does that mean for the A-10s of the world? What does that mean for, so many question marks out there. But as far as where we're at right now, when it comes to the landscape of college athletics, the portal I thought was going to be horrible for basketball. And I almost hate it. As a fan of a team in Wright State who went to the tournament, won in the tournament, should have had those guys back. This would be a fringe top 25 team. People laugh at me when I say that, but I've talked to multiple. I mean, even people at ESPN have said the same thing. Wright State would have had enough with Tanner Holden and Grant Basile back with what they have now to be a fringe team getting some conversation. They wouldn't probably get there consistently because playing in the Horizon League, but they would have been that stacked. It stinks that those two left, but that's part of it. But I'm looking around at college basketball as a whole. As much as I kind of miss some of those Kentucky Anthony Davis type seasons where it's just super stacked with NBA talent all on one. Now there's just a lot of wealth. There's a lot of money to go around. There's a lot of opportunity to go around. There's parity. It's kind of hard to tell who the premier teams are in college basketball. That number one team has been a revolving door all season, which is kind of good for college basketball to a certain extent. But is this good for college basketball that there's not those powerhouse Kentucky teams from back in the 2010s, or is this good for? Where are you at right now with the collegiate landscape for basketball?
I think it's in great shape. I really do. You have competition with the NBA, maybe lowering the age to 18. I think the transfer portal and NIL will keep non-first rounders. And you think about right now the first round, 6 to 7 of those guys are from the G League and over league or elite. There's two different. So there's about 6 or 7 of the 28 or 9 draft picks there. There's always 5 or 6 international guys. So really there's 11. So really college basketball is competing for about 12 players that are going to be guaranteed locks to the NBA draft. And that makes it a lot harder for the Kentuckys and Kansases, Dukes. They still get their players. Those teams can be helped by portal. Duke does not use the transfer portal. Kentucky uses the portal very much so. Kansas uses the portal. Justin Wilson, their star player, transfer. Dayton, on the recipient of that, gets a lot of major college players like Tamati Camara from Georgia and Kobe Elvis from DePaul, who's a Big East guard now at Dayton. It's in years past, Jordan Seibert, but he had to sit out a year. Dayton's been a great factory for a transfer.
Charles Cook.
Charles Cook. And B. Sanford. We rarely lose guys on the way up. Like we don't lose guys. Dayton doesn't lose guys to an Ole Miss. We don't lose guys to a Florida. We don't lose guys to a Iowa because we draw more than those teams. You play in an environment that's a lot better than Iowa. They only get 7 or 8 unless it's Wisconsin. They may get 12 or Michigan State. You look at the SEC, only about a handful of those teams draw more than UD. You look at the Big East. They play in small arenas. DePaul gets a few hundred to a game. Providence gets a few thousand to a game when it's not Villanova.
Yep.
BC, in the ACC, gets 0 fans to their games. So Dayton, by far, when you look at the theater of what we have and our brand, is top 25. And so I think it helps us to get team players that want to come down a notch and it's been great for UD. And I think we have to. Anthony's with his reputation is needs to continue that because you want experienced guys, and then the NIL. I think it helps the bigger schools to keep an NBA player like a Toshibwe or an Armando Bacot at North Carolina, which in years past would be gone to the NBA. But now we can, as a program, we can pay Toshibwe at North Carolina. You can pay Bacot, and they're getting 6 or 7 figures for sure. And they're probably making more than they will ever make because neither one is a first-round draft pick. So they're not going to have guaranteed money when they come out of college.
His first round in the NBA. So
guaranteed 3 years with a 4th-year option.
1 through 30.
Yes.
So Kamara, I'm sorry, if Holmes, Kamara, well,
if Holmes has locked to be in the first round,
he'd be dumb not to leave.
It would be hard not to leave.
But if he's fringe second round first, I mean, you look at that type of situation, it's like, and I don't know what NIL packages are out there for him. I know he has some. I don't know what the number.
If he can wait a year and be guaranteed a top 13, the income on a top 13 lottery pick versus a guy that's 26 is double, triple. I don't know that by fact. I'm speculating, but 1 through 13, you want to be a lottery pick. Imagine if he stays for another year and says, you know what, I can double my income with 1 more year in college basketball. You get an insurance policy. I don't know how that works. Have the NIL pay your insurance for future loss of income. Boom. You take the chance to get a 1 through 13, which happens with so many UK guys that over the years that have stayed that extra year to become a lottery pick. That's one thing, Cal. And so that's why I can segue that could be a Deron Holmes. He may want to stay to be a lottery pick.
And NIL could be a factor in that. Now, again, that's without us knowing I don't know what the NIL figures are.
I think that's good stuff for college basketball because in years past, we just lose them. They'd be gone.
Because Deron, the thing is, well, if there's a chance he could be first, he's going no matter what. He might be second, but it's a gamble he's willing to make. But the next gamble he can make is, well, if I have NIL money coming in, it's not like I'm out everything. I mean, I'm going to be making good money if I come back to Dayton for 1 more year. And if me coming back puts me in a position next year with another stacked roster to, obviously maybe get that even more exposure playing in top 25
and he'll be told
team.
that. He'll be told what he should do.
And AG knows what he's doing with that because he knows the NBA real well.
He's very connected, and I think it's a good thing for Dayton.
Okay.
If we lose guys to the NBA, that is a great thing for our program.
One thing you and I talked about, I mean, think about it. I mean,
because the wins will come. The wins are going to come. The bids are going to come. We can't control the NCAA tournament bids, but we can control our destiny right now through the A-10 tournament. And I think it's time we go out and get this one this year.
Yeah. One last thing, because we're running out of time, but the one thing I found interesting too, you and I were talking about this a little bit ago about the transfer portal. It has never really bit UD at all during AG's run. In fact, it's only helped them. And UD is a very interesting situation because you're right. They haven't lost anyone of significance. Now, Dwayne Cohill is doing great things at Youngstown State, but that's not the Dwayne Cohill that left. Let's be real. The Dwayne Cohill that's at Youngstown State.
He's coming off an ACL injury. We didn't know how well he was going to perform. I think he saw us recruiting heavily at his position for insurance.
But to be fair, though,
when I had my ACL, Dayton recruited behind me and brought in Ray Springer and Anthony, and we ended up sharing time for 4 years, at that 2-guard spot. And I don't blame a coach to do that. You need that. You don't look at St. Louis right now. Perkins, St. Louis struggling because their ACL guy is coming back. He's not 100%. He's trying to get his confidence, and if he does get it, watch out. But right now they're struggling, and he was the man, and he's trying to come back, and it's tough. It takes 2 years to come back from an ACL.
Yeah, and then at that time when Cohill did leave, so Cohill came to the Nutter Center and dropped 40 on Wright State, just could not miss. And people were like, because remember at that time,
and Dayton fans are happy for him. Well, because he's a good kid.
But at that time, Dayton fans were mad that he wasn't still there because that was right after that Virginia Tech game. While Virginia Tech was happening, Wright State had lost bad to Youngstown. And
everybody's like, why did he leave?
But and I had to keep reminding Flyer fans, that 40-point dude that's now dominating for Youngstown, that's not the guy that left at that time. If that's who was there, he wouldn't have feared someone coming up from behind him and the injury you talked about. But with the transfer portal, UD's not losing talented guys because, we came here, we didn't think we were that good. We're better than we thought. Now we can go to this bigger program over here. What they're getting is they're getting super talented dudes like Kamara who aren't Power 5 rejects. They are just guys that go into a roster with much deeper situations that, okay, I can split minutes and do this here, or I can go to UD, get the same Power 5 experience, play in front of 13,000
Coaching
fans,
changes
play
help
for AG.
too.
Yeah, people don't go to UD because they're Power 5 rejects. They go to UD because they're Power 5 players that can get a Power 5 experience in a non-crowded, non-Power 5 field, if that makes sense.
And OB proved the point, and I'll be quick. OB proved the point that you can come here to Dayton and become an NBA player through development and get the notoriety and have game day. So it can be done. And so it's not an unrealistic dream. And you can come to Dayton, you play in front of the best, one of the best fan bases in the Midwest against anybody in a great arena, and you have a good education. You got NIL package. I think it's there. You've got it's a gem for transfers. There's no doubt about it.
All right, Norm, thank you so much. I do this every Wednesday.
Thank you, Justin. I enjoy it, and I really appreciate doing this throughout the season.
Dayton got the big win last night. They got George Washington coming up on Saturday. When you're back in here on Wednesday, are we talking about another Flyer win?
2.
Why even ask?
I'm a homer.
Yeah, I was going to say, yes. I mean, I haven't met a Flyer fan that's not, by the way. And that's totally fine. Facts are facts.
Hey, Sully's not a homer.
It's like,
I'm just kidding, Sully.
Oh, man. That's
I had to throw that in there. He'll get me, I'm sure. We love you, buddy.
All right, good stuff. Can't wait for next week. Talking Out Loud with Sully tomorrow night, by the way. Every Wednesday, we got Norm from 5 to 6. Talking Out Loud with Sully every Thursday from 5 to 6. So keep that in mind. All right, folks, have a great night. We have Ohio State basketball coming up later on tonight on 1410 ESPN Radio, 6:15. In fact, 10 minutes from now, we'll hand it off to Paul Keels and the gang. But that wraps it up for us tonight. Until tomorrow, it's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, 1410 ESPN Radio. Thanks, Norm.
Thank you.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash.
Justin, you're awesome, baby.
Right here on 1410 ESPN Radio.
You have empty office space to fill or home office to create. You know what you need. You know what you'd like. But you also have a pretty good idea after you've shopped around the usual places what you need and what you like might not happen. Well, then you haven't been to Charles Larrick's Warehouse Outlet. Nobody has their selection. Nobody has their discounts. And every week, there's something new. If you need office furniture, Larrick's Warehouse Outlet can sell it to you for half the price and below manufacturer's selected prices. Half price and below on hundreds of items. Selection from budget to the best. Really, desks from $50 to $5,000. Filing cabinets from $25 to $500. Before you go anywhere else, do yourself a favor and come to Larrick's Warehouse Outlet. With 25,000 square feet of selection, you're not going to go anywhere else. Larrick's Warehouse Outlet at 23 McOil Avenue, Dayton. Open Monday through Friday, 9 to 6. Larrick's, continuing the tradition.
Stock up on your favorite Procter & Gamble products and save big money right now at Menards. Procter & Gamble delivers quality products from brands that you can trust, like Dawn, Tide, Bounty, and more. Keep your home clean and stocked with essentials like paper towel, toilet paper, dish soap, and cleaning supplies. Right now, save big money and receive a $10 mail-in rebate on a single qualifying purchase for $40 or more on Procter & Gamble products at Menards.
Save big money at Menards.
When you can't stop, there's Vicks VapoRub. Vicks VapoRub sends powerful medicated Vicks vapors right to the source of your... so you can experience cough relief and breathe easier. Generations of families have trusted Vicks VapoRub to help relieve the worst cold symptoms. So next time you have a cough, reach for the Vicks VapoRub. Vicks VapoRub. Cough relieving is believing.
Research shows listeners prefer a personalized experience. So to help you remember, Liberty Mutual customizes your home insurance. We personalized this ad for Amber, who really misses boy bands from the 90s.
Hey girl, I'm the cute one, here to tell you how Liberty Mutual customizes your home insurance so you only pay for what you need.
I'm the heartthrob. The only thing I love more than you is saving. And I'm the other boy in the band everyone forgot.